Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Shepard. I'm joined by Maximum Mouse.
Hello there.
Hello. We have a guest with perhaps the prettiest first name of any guest we've ever had.
Beautiful name, yeah.
Priyanka Chopra.
Yes.
Yes.
She's a big get.
Yeah. Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
That's right.
It didn't come up. I didn't say it when we interviewed her, but do you know she's the most followed Indian female human on Instagram?
Oh.
Did you know that?
I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
85 million followers.
Yeah, huge.
85 million.
She is one of the biggest movie stars globally. I mean, that's just the truth.
That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think when you have 85, you start getting really itchy to get to 100?
Ooh,
Like,
probably.
I imagine the human brain, right, is just like, God, I'm really close to 100. That sounds better.
Yeah, you get used to where you are.
Like, if you have 8.5, you want 10.
That's right.
I have 3.1 or 6.
And what do you want, 3.5 or 4?
Okay. It would just be better if it was at 4.
Okay, yeah,
Even
sure.
4. Do you do that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Where do you want to get to?
40.
No. You know, funny enough, when I tagged you today in a post, it says your follower numbers, right? When I start filling it'll autofill, it'll bring up as a suggestion you.
Okay.
And then it says right next to the followers.
Huh.
And I didn't realize that.
That is weird. Maybe
I'm wondering if that even happened.
New feature maybe they're rolling out.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
I know that I saw today how many followers you have. So I actually know.
Yeah.
So many.
Doing well.
Really
Pretty
good.
happy. Not Priyanka numbers, that's for sure.
It's
But that's
all
all right.
relative. Yeah. Priyanka Chopra Jonas is an actor and a producer. She was in Quantico for a few years. Baywatch, the movie, kind of ironic because she saw it a lot as a kid. The Matrix Resurrections, The White Tiger. She has a new show out April 28th on Amazon Prime Video called Citadel, which is a full-blown, big budget, awesome spy show directed
Very
by
cool.
the
Russo
brothers, who are gigantic Marvel directors. And then she also has a movie coming out May 12th called Love Again. So please enjoy Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Oh wow, Dax, you're wearing your cool jumpsuit. This is its first time out.
Inaugural.
Jumpsuit?
Yeah.
We've all dressed
You're
up.
very fashionable, so I was like, I'm going to go for it.
And I was
You are.
told you're a sweats guy, so I went for jeans.
No, you look
Well, look,
perfect.
we're both going to consider it.
I know. Please don't consider it.
You got
Yes,
a
I
coffee.
did.
And this will keep it hot. Do you have an ember?
Yes, I do.
Aren't they the greatest?
My husband invested in it years ago.
It's a good.
Smart, right?
Yeah, really good.
And like early when it was, so that's cool. Smart. My new bag is very excited about his investment in Ember.
Oh, I bet. You know what else is great? M&M.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give M&M some love.
I don't like chocolate.
You don't like chocolate?
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
no.
Starting out with
a hot take.
controversy.
Wow.
Oh, Lord.
I know one other person who doesn't like chocolate.
Like, I'm not gonna lose my shit over it. I'll have it. If there's an amazing brownie, I'm not gonna be like gagging.
Okay.
You don't crave it.
No, I'd rather have pizza. I'd
There
rather
we
have
go.
bread
Savory.
and butter.
Yeah. I
and
get that.
You know who doesn't like
fried
chocolate?
chicken.
Who?
Deltafina.
That's right, my soulmate.
Yeah,
My
my
soulmate, her
8-year-old daughter
his child.
weirdly doesn't like chocolate.
It's not weird. Why are you classifying us?
Well, we have to have some agreement on what words mean.
Sure.
Weird means very low percentage of
Out of
people.
the ordinary.
Right? We've got to
Okay.
agree on what the
as
word
long as we use it for its definition, which is
Yeah.
an abnormal amount of people.
non-conventional.
Non-conventional.
Yeah.
But not
That's
a
great.
pejorative.
It's not
Yes.
a pejorative.
We're not throwing a pejorative on
No,
it.
Austin's weird. It's my favorite city. Keep
That's right.
Austin
I
weird.
love weird people are my favorite.
Were
I'm
you
a
just
weirdo.
in Austin?
Yes.
Yes, I was.
So was I.
For South by
I saw
Southwest.
that you were going to be there.
Oh, so how would it go? What did you do?
I did a panel for Spotify.
And what'd you talk about?
Sonic science.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
I didn't talk about sonic science. There was an MIT professor who talked about
I
sonic
was like,
science.
girl, I need to spend more time with you.
I mean, I have nothing to give. But
Are you
other
comfortable
than,
telling us where you stayed? Because Monica had a whole saga about where she started and where she ended up.
Where did you stay?
I stayed at a hotel. That's a very popular hotel
Okay.
there. A lot of people stay there, I guess. And I was there for an hour and I was like, I can't do this. There's way too many people. Everyone is there to see or be seen,
Yeah.
if you will. It's not for me. So I moved
Yeah.
to the Commodore Perry, which I will shout out because it's a beautiful hotel. A little
That's
outside.
amazing. I mean, I kind of did feel that when we just drove from the airport into Austin. I was like, what's happening?
Yes.
And it was just South by Southwest. It's a
Madness.
hugely popular
It's
festival.
enormous, right?
So many people show up. But I also felt really great about the audience was super engaged. They cared about being there. They
Yeah.
cared about movies. They cared about tech. They cared about business. They all cared.
It's true.
So it was a cool group of people. It was fun to interact with them, I think.
What was your panel?
Me and Jennifer Salke, who's the head of Amazon Studios, we were talking about Citadel and the ambition of the show. And just like as women in the business, you know, we've both been in it for a minute and navigating how hard it is. It was cool. Nobody came and told us when we should end it. So, you know, we had like awkward pauses at the end and we're like, so
is
has
it
it been 90
time?
minutes?
Was there not a moderator?
No, it was just her and I.
Moderator free.
We were moderating ourselves.
Raw dog.
Just wanted it to be a conversation, you know, instead of
Yeah.
being a Q&A.
90's long.
I know, but I think we kept it going for 90 minutes and then we just ran out. You know, there's no more gas.
What's her history? Where did she come from?
What did she do, Jen, before Amazon?
Was she running a different network or?
Oh, yeah.
You could say it.
There's an Amazon
okay.
representative here, and he's so fucking nervous.
He
Like
is,
just the
Tyler.
notion of even acknowledging where the president
We could
was
easily
once
look
at.
it up.
The way he responded, he's like, "Yes, she was," and I was like, "Oh God, she killed someone before she left." There's a huge
Scandal.
scandal.
No, Tyler's being protective.
Yeah.
here. But you could
that's
say
his
it.
job.
I met her when she became the head of Amazon.
Yeah, Jen's a legend in the industry.
Yes.
She's been with Amazon for about 5 years.
Okay, she's a legend. I'll have to look it up. It'll be in the fact
In the
check.
fact check, we'll
Yeah.
say where she came from.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
an Easter egg.
Yeah. What came out of that panel, some of the conversation, which was fascinating, was for you to have been doing this for 22 years, doing 70 plus movies, 2 series, and that this be the very first time you got the same amount of money as your male co-star. Isn't
Kinda
the
nuts,
greatest
isn't it?
report card.
I'm a vocal girl. Like, I asked for it. I was just told no in the past. And after Citadel, which I joined about 3 years before this, when it was just a conversation, my agents, UTA, I'll give them a shout out for that because they went in and they told me, you're co-leads in this show because there was a disparity initially.
Yeah.
And I was like, true. They were like, let us go have a conversation. And I was like, okay, good luck.
Nice.
I've done this before, been down this road, you guys. And they came back and they said that was easy. And, you know, most favored nations. And I was like, wait a minute.
Great.
Yeah.
What? And I did wonder, is it because it was a female head of studio? But whatever it was, after that, I've always had parity if I'm playing a co-lead with someone. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I hope my daughter or the next generation of girls are not having this conversation.
Okay, Bill, but let me paint a hypothetical situation. Rob is your next co-star, okay, who's taking pictures. He has no quote, right? They
Okay.
could get him for scale. He'd work for
Sure.
$6,500 a week, and he'd work 100 hours.
Yep.
So he wants parody, but you're like, well, fuck, if they make parody with him, that's all the money that could have gone to me. So do you want parody for him?
I do. Obviously, it depends on what your role is and how much work you're actually putting in.
Right.
But if he's a co-lead of mine, he should get paid what I get paid.
Okay, hold on, though. So great.
Or either way around.
But
whatever.
is it his first job?
But is it,
Depending
what
on
about
where he is in life.
Yeah.
Right. What about the marketplace?
Yep.
We can't say that Rob has the same appeal as you do in a commercial, or
Yeah.
that as many people are going to tune in to see Rob act. So that's got to
This
be in
is-
the
And
equation,
that's
right?
a conversation
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be had. And I've had people having that conversation with me. When I was newer in the industry, I didn't go and say, you know, like, I want to be paid the same as The Rock. Common sense about it. You
Yeah,
know?
yes,
That
yes,
I'm
yes.
not going to go in hot asking for something. Even in this case, I actually was just like, okay, let's have the conversation.
Yes.
And it became something which I feel really proud of. And I feel like maybe I was a little bit jaded where I didn't even think to ask. And my agents kind of were like, you have enough of a body of work.
Yes.
You bring a lot to the table.
Yes.
You should have that.
The paradigm's a trap a little bit because conventionally, let's take gender out of it, right? Let's just say that it's going to be a show of 4 lead dudes. Okay, they're all going to share. Conventionally, how people's pay works in television is you have an existing quote, right? So all 4 guys have been on previous shows, and the network goes, "What were they getting paid? $100,000 an episode? Okay, we're going to be mentions. We're going to give them 110, so we're going to give them a raise." But it's all based on what the previous quote was. But when we do apply gender to it, you're caught in some perpetual cycle where it's like, well, to get the quote up, you have to start paying women appropriately. So it's like they're leaning on what was her quote? We'll give her a 50% raise. Yeah. But there's a big gap to be made up that eventually you can't really apply that model of just what's the quote if you hope to close this gap.
Absolutely. And it's not even just our industry, right? It's across industries. In business specifically, for a woman to become CEO, there are so many women that I've met who have said, we've had to have like extra degrees. We've had to like run harder and push more and have more results to be able to get that seat on the table. We have to continue the conversation because don't be like me and be jaded and be like, okay, I'll take whatever you give me.
Yeah.
Ask that question.
Yeah. But they trick you into thinking
Yes.
that you're ungrateful if you do that.
Absolutely.
And that you can be replaced in any second. So if you push back.
I've felt that always. When I started working, which was like early 2000s, in Hindi movies, which is popularly known as Bollywood, there was no conversation around forget parity. It's like you just arrive and you wait for your co-actor to arrive whenever they do, and you shoot whenever they want to shoot.
I am so curious about
that. Was then, though.
That
was then, though. I feel like there has been tremendous change with my generation of female actors specifically, and the ones that came before us that were like, we want to be the faces on a poster. We want to sell the movies. We want to have parity. We want to have credit. We want movies that are sold on our shoulders, and we don't want to hear that no one's coming to watch them. And I think that seriously changed now, and it's amazing to have been a part of seeing that live.
Well, you're an enormous part of it. I was trying to think of like a comp for you for Americans who don't know the history. And I would say you're like Angelina Jolie in India.
Yes, that's what
Like
my
she's
parents
my
would
fave.
say that.
They would say that as
yes,
well?
and they have.
Yeah, because you had like the highest grossing opening day as a female lead movie, which had never happened. These are like Angelina Jolie type things that happen, especially in that space, any kind of action or thriller, right? So I think people would be excited to learn that that is your role kind of in India, which is pretty gangster.
I mean, if there was any comparison, I will take that.
Okay, let's start at the beginning because it's a really fun and twisty ride.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you're born in India and both of your parents are military physicians. And so you're traveling a lot. That's my first order of interest. Kids who travel a lot, you're just making new friends. This either kills you or potentially defines you in a positive way. What was your experience moving, meeting, adjusting, and all that?
Well, it kind of grew. When I was really young, both my parents at that time were in the military, and they left me with my grandparents. My mom was doing her master's or some super specialty. My parents were really
She became
academic.
a gynecologist ultimately?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
So she was studying, and so my grandparents raised me predominantly with my mom's sister till I was like 4. And then kindergarten, I moved with my parents. The first time my dad came and told me I had a best friend, I was getting A's in class, I was having the best time in kindergarten. This was in New Delhi. And he said, we've got to move. And I had a tantrum and I was like, you can leave me here. I'm going to go to Denise's house and stay. And yes, my best friend's name was Denise.
How'd that happen?
Denise.
Yeah, there's...
Was she a Caucasoid?
No, she was Indian.
Okay.
But there are many different religions in
Yes,
India, and
yes.
the diversity of India is influenced by our many colonizers.
On the behalf of white people, I apologize.
Thank you, I will take
Not
it.
English, but I feel like
I'll still take it.
Yeah.
But so there's many religions, especially the larger cities. It's
Yeah.
like they become more cosmopolitan because you have a lot more travel and business. But anyway, I was really upset, tantrum with my dad, and he said something which I kind of still do, is he said, you know how your math teacher doesn't like you? That's what I said. It's like in the next school you go to, they won't know what you did. And I was like, wait a minute.
New
And he's like,
identity.
you could be whoever you want in the next school you go to. Denise will write to you. She'll come visit. Don't worry about. Never saw her again.
Shout out to Denise.
Bye, Denise.
Bye, Denise. But besides that, it became such a game for me every time I moved. In fact, I would look to move. I would crave it. I would be excited about it because I was like, I could make mistakes and know that I had an avenue to kind of leave them behind. That was a very smart move on my dad's end. And I still kind of get excited every time I have to travel because I'm like, okay, who is she?
So you're good with change. You embrace it.
I don't have many materialistic attachments. I feel like my family is that I crave my closet where I know where my gray jacket is instead of living out of suitcases. Like that sucks after a while. So I like having home base, but I can travel at the drop of a hat. And because maybe I was military, it really prepared me for this career and to be able to locate in London for the summer, which is what I'm going to do now. And it's like, okay, let's pick up and go. It became a lot easier with that mindset.
This won't be exciting for you guys because you know many of them, but I only know one Ashok, and that's Monica's father.
Yes.
Oh, really? Your dad's name was Ashok too?
Yeah, Ashok. We just talked to him yesterday. We called him
To
on
find
the
out how
podcast.
many Indians he thought had blue eyes. And
We had Jay Shetty on.
he has impossibly
He has
blue eyes.
impossible eyes. And I said, I've never seen an Indian person with blue eyes. And then
So
we had to
again, as a
corroborate.
result of our
Exactly.
colonization, and I don't know exactly where Jay is from, but there are states around Maharashtra and their ascendants had blue and green eyes because of stuff.
So her dad was like green, blue, whatever. He said, when I was in India as a kid, the thing I never even looked at was hair or eyes because it's a given they all look the same. and
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, that's so funny to hear him say that. But then he's like, but the thing I know about is cat eyes.
There's a Malayalam term. My parents are from Kerala, and he said
And she would
it
know the movie.
translates to cat eyes, and he says there's a movie about it.
Popular movie in India called Cat Eyes, or the
Maybe you were in it.
equivalent of Cat Eyes.
Do you know the name of it in Hindi? Ask him what's the name of the movie.
Cat
I wonder
Eyes.
if I've seen it.
But you know what's funny is when he said cat eyes, I said, oh my God, that's so much better. That's actually what I would describe Jay as having. Fuck green or blue. That's not the interesting thing.
He
There's
has
a
gorgeous feline eyes.
feline. There's a feline quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does.
Yes. They're hypnotic.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
Great.
Powerful.
And,
Okay.
and his wife, both of them.
Yes.
Insane.
I can't-
Radhi's eyes, I get lost in those pools of
There's so much
bluey
going
green,
on.
turquoisey goodness.
I'm not legally allowed to talk about her anymore.
I cut a lot of what you said.
I bet you did.
Yeah. You were really taken by her.
Can't believe what she looks like.
Stunning.
Stunning.
Okay. You're moving all around India and it's fun. You have a particularly fun spell in LEH? LAH?
Leh.
That's like a sweet spot for you.
Well, I was in 4th grade, and Leh is right in the middle of the Himalayan mountains, and it's very high sea levels, and you have to acclimate when you get there. And I was in 4th grade, and I was wanting to explore, and it's very influenced by Buddhism. So there are like little stupas and Buddhist temples all around. So me and my other military kid friends would go exploring, and I was the leader, and it was that phase in my life where I was kind of figuring out that I had a lot of curiosity, and my parents always let me explore, and I traveled everywhere with them, and travel was just learning and an adventure. And both my parents really believed in just pack up the car and take off for the weekend, go up to the hills. My dad would always drive, and we would stop in just rivers when we drove in the Himalayas, and they would be spring mountain rivers, so like super cold water.
Yeah.
And
It was a
they'd
crazy
put beers
blue.
in there, and
No.
we'd put fruits in there and just have a little picnic. I mean, I wasn't allowed beer. I had apple juice instead.
Some Fisher Kings?
But yeah,
Kingfisher.
Kingfisher.
Oh my gosh.
That's an exciting story. Do you know
Yeah.
his story?
The Kingfisher guys?
Yeah, the guy who
Vijay
owned
Mallya?
it. And then he
Yeah.
started Force India, the race team. Yes.
Malayalam,
Couldn't be more
yeah.
interested. Okay. Now, at the point you moved to the US, you're 13. What was your knowledge of the US? What were you watching on TV? Did you have a fantasy about what the US was?
Yes. To me, it was 90210.
Yes.
Saved by the Bell.
Little Baywatch in there?
Baywatch was in there
Yeah.
because my mom used to watch a lot of Baywatch, and soaps.
Oh my God.
What was this?
As the world
Guiding
turns.
light, bold and the beautiful as the world
Um,
turns.
Remington Steele. That's a golden one. My mom
Well,
used
Pierce
to love Pierce
Brosnan.
Brosnan.
I still love
She still loves him too.
He's sexy.
I mean, come on, he's amazing.
He
This is the thing. My grandmother was obsessed with soap operas. And every day we would, in the summers, I stayed with her and we just watched 4 in a row soap operas. She
Her
was
shows.
obsessed. They were her shows.
Got to watch her
So
shows.
interesting.
Yeah. Now my mom has moved on to Korean dramas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She likes saying, "Good night, guys. I'm going to Korea." Just go upstairs, disappears till 3 o'clock in the morning. You still see her on a laptop. Oh, and I'm like, there's a TV right there. Our algorithm is all Korean dramas when my mom comes to visit on Netflix and Amazon.
Oh, yeah, all the suggestions.
All of them.
Okay, so based on those shows, 90210, let's really hone in on that because I too was obsessed with 90210. And so my fantasy of California specifically was 90210. You end up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This is not what's on television.
So my concept of the geography of America was limited.
Yeah.
I didn't
New
grow
York
up here.
or-
Yeah. So my cousins were in some city called Cedar Rapids. Okay, great. And I was 13. Boys were on my mind, more than anything else. So I was just like, listen, we're going to America. I'd come to visit my cousins. I wasn't supposed to stay here. But my mom had retired from the army because my brother was born. And now I know, basically, she planned this whole thing because she was starting her private practice and she was like, I'm just going to send my oldest to my sister for a year and keep the baby. And I'm fine over there. I wanted to do it anyway, but it gave her time to kind of figure out where she lands. But at that time, my mom's really smart. My cousin took me to her school. And when you are an Indian kid from an Indian school, which is each class has at least 60 to 100 kids, we don't go from class to class. Our teachers come to us because can you imagine
Too many people
like
to move
recess
Yeah.
in an Indian school?
The
Nuh-uh.
hallways.
You just
No
gotta,
way.
Once you get them in there, you got to
You
keep
just
everyone
keep them in there
yes.
and the teachers come in and out. So I was mind blown by the American school system. We always carried our lunch with us. Whatever mom made was what we take. And then we would like barter with each other's, whoever was carrying something else, we would switch it around. Here you at a cafeteria?
Yeah.
People were making fresh food for you?
Well, fresh in quotes.
I know, whatever. It was
nice
hot.
rectangle pizza. Yeah.
But it was pizza?
Oh, I
Are you kidding me?
Ah.
We had to wait for Sunday for pizza in India. So for me, when I came, it was like 90210, even if it was Cedar Rapids.
I love it.
That's great.
There was a band, there was theater, sports, there was a gym, there was a basketball court. I was like mind blown when I moved here. I was like, okay, I got to change my life right now.
Yes.
I need to tell my mother that this is for my education because that might work. If I'm like, Mom, I will work better here. I will be smarter here. She was playing me. I was playing her. We both knew what was happening. We just let it happen. And she was like, okay, if you get into the school and, you can get your visa and stuff done, then sure. And my aunt figured out I got my student visa and I started staying with her.
And this is in a junior high.
8th grade.
Okay. Shit's happening.
Yeah, that's a time.
When I came to America, so I think I just celebrated my 12th birthday, got my eyebrows done for the first time because I was like, I'm getting on a flight to go to America. I need my eyebrows did.
Yes. You need your brow game
And I told my
popping.
mom, I was like, I need a blowout. My mom was like, what? You're 12.
Oh my God.
I was like, do you know what girls look like there? Watch this show. I really thought everybody looked like Kelly Kapowski from
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Yes.
like those
Yeah.
girls. And
Actually, no one here ever at 12 is like getting their eyebrows done
No,
or
no.
getting
I know, but I'm
blowouts.
getting all dressed up to come to America.
Oh my
It's
God,
pretty
what an
funny.
interesting new girl to come.
Oh my God, yes. And landing in farm boy country.
To you, to me, it was 90210.
Right. Were you boy crazy off the charts
Well,
once you
I had a
landed?
crush on this guy called Seth. We won't tell you his last name.
Okay.
He had green hair. He was the lead singer of a band.
Oh my God.
And this was in Cedar Rapids. And he sat in front of me in math class. So I just got to see his hair. I didn't really interact with him very much.
And were boys vibing you?
Not yet.
Not
They
yet.
would be in a year.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
I
when-
kind of grew. American hormones got me, I think. My hair grew.
Wow.
My shape grew.
I'm so jealous. This is, of course.
What?
Tell
right?
me. Tell me.
Because you come in and you're different. You're from India.
Yeah. I spoke different, I dressed different, I smelled
Yes.
different. My jokes were different.
Exactly.
I
But
tried a new accent every week to try to fit in.
okay, yeah. It ended up working for you. And I did the opposite thing.
It didn't because I left America. I was like,
Oh.
fuck you. I need.
Okay,
Can I
yeah.
say fuck on this
Oh,
show?
yes.
Please,
yes.
the more-
All
the
things
more the
are allowed to
merrier.
say.
Ask sometimes. I forgot I didn't ask you if profanity was loud. By
What
the
I
time
just learned is
reached-
you've never heard the show, and that's okay.
No,
but now I do know.
On my way, Paul Rudd. It was
Oh, yeah.
such a fun episode.
He's so
Because I
fun.
can't
I was like,
get
I need
through.
an education. That was a really fun episode, by the way.
Yeah, but lots of swearing. Swearing's welcome.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
so first,
Okay.
do you want to finish your point?
Yes,
Because I want to hear about between 8th and 9th what happens.
Well,
Okay.
right, because I was born here, grew up here, and felt so different the whole time. I was trying so hard
Yeah.
to fit in and be white.
Cheerleader.
And I'm just thinking, if you arrived at my school, I would be so mad at you for coming.
Because she was a bombshell?
Well, I think multiple things would be happening. One, I'd be jealous just because, yeah, I'd be like, oh no, there's this most amazing
Another
version of
brown-
me. Like
another
that's-
brown girl.
That's what people would have thought. And then also I'd be like, oh no, now she's like drawing attention to the fact that there are brown people in this world. Like I was trying really hard to pretend like that didn't
So
exist.
you know why, right?
No.
Can I break it down for you?
Yes.
Just as an immigrant experience.
Please.
I think the generation that came before your and our parents,
Yeah.
basically, they moved countries in their 20s. They came to a country, they didn't speak the language, the outfits were different. It was like settlements.
Yeah.
They were settling in, trying to find a better life for their kids, right? So they kind of had to be, I remember so many times being told, be invisible, don't attract attention to yourself. And back in India, my mom was telling me the opposite.
Really?
She was like, find your feet, find your voice. Who are you?
Find the light.
What is your opinion? From when I was 5 years old, I would hang out with my parents, and my dad, in a conversation, would literally say, what do you think about this? And not as a kid. And he would encourage my opinion. And then
Yeah.
I came here where our parents really had to be invisible to get a job, to put their feet into the door, to make people notice them, not because of what they look like, because they would never be noticed, but actually with their skills. So when you look at doctors and lawyers and you see South Asians spread out, is because our parents, even if it's like the Patel stores and the gas stations, like our parents came in and did that. So you and I could do this.
I know, it's
And we're not even
amazing.
thinking about it. So the be invisible, what we inherited, because I inherited that too, was from their burdens. But I
Yeah.
think we evolved that conversation into saying, okay, yes, it was really scary for them, but you made a safe space for me. And I'm going to use this safe space because of your sacrifices to be the best version I can be. And that's why you see you on a mic, me on a show. You see so much more South Asian representation
You
because
guys
the
just
next
took over
generation.
South by Southwest.
That's right.
Yeah.
The two of us.
Yeah. It's infestation of beautiful Indian women down there.
It's
But
really
it's like
true.
finding your voice and saying it's okay for me to have a voice, even if I'm brown.
Yeah. I think, yeah, because there was a big internal struggle for me because same, like at my dinner tables, nothing but debate, always share your opinion. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's yelling at each other all the time.
But when you step out into the real world,
Yes, then I just have to agree with all the white people. Like I have to. I don't have any other option. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Monica's on an interesting.
open
Oh,
this?
you can, listen to me.
Do
Stop
anything.
asking. You could set things on fire. You can steal
You
shit.
can pee on the couch.
You can change your outfit. You
Yep.
can-
I
and
may have gone through a
sky's the
klepto
limit.
phase, so don't say that to me.
Yeah, Monica's, I think, if I
Mm-hmm.
can speak for you, on a interesting trajectory of assimilation, confidence, her own domain, seeing other people in pop culture who chose to run right at it. Hassan's very inspirational for Monica.
Yeah.
And now kind of finding her way back into owning being Indian, embracing it, exploring it. So it's like almost crisscrossy. I don't
But
know.
I think that's what happened to a lot of us in second generation. I mean, I lived in India, but I spent like 3 years in America during a very transformative time in my life. Adolescence is when you're kind of figuring out who you are, and I was here. And I inherited that feeling as well. So I think that because we felt that way and we had to struggle with, especially for my cousins and for you, Indian Americans who are second generation, who am I? I had so many friends that changed their names from like Varun to Warren just to make it easier.
Yeah.
No one could get my name right when I was in high school. They would stare at it for a second. So I was like, just call
Yeah.
me Pri, at that time. But I was bullied in 10th grade. I just started feeling really icky about who I was here. And I called my mom and I said, I want to finish high school in India. I don't want to stay here anymore.
Wow.
And she was like, on a flight the next day. Came in, we emptied out my locker, and she took me home.
Can I guess something?
Yeah.
I'd imagine the women were rougher on you. I imagine the guys liked you. Once high school hit, we can't compete with this.
Two of my best friends, one in Cedar Rapids and one when I lived in Indianapolis, were guys. I always, even when I was a kid, had guys as friends. Even now, I have some amazing guy friends. Women for so long have been pitted against each other because there can't be two that get the job, or they can't be two. Like what Monica was saying, if I came to her school, it'll be like, fuck, another brown
man.
girl to compete with. I wanted to be the only exotic one. Like we tell ourselves that shit versus we're now finding enough confidence to build community, to be able to say there's strength in numbers. If we come together, we might be able to just feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And whatever your journey is.
Well, it's a really predictable outcome of finite resources. You look at American cities where you've got 4 different ethnicities all living in a small pocket in poverty with very limited resources. You're going to see massive competition and
Absolutely.
in-group, out-group anger. Like you put one rib in front of 6 lions, guess what's going to happen? Lots of fights.
Creating more opportunity. We even as women, when we talk about, equality, it's not saying that I want to be 400 pounds or I want to be able to lift weights. Nobody's asking for that kind of equality. Equality and opportunity. You give opportunity, you create more space, we will stop feeling like we need to compete with each other. And that destructive, cyclical thing may not exist.
The mating thing's always going to be there, though. Like
Yes,
the
it
guys are
must.
going to fight for. The
It
guys are
must
going to
be
hate the
there.
guy who's getting all the attention. So listen, I'm going to
That's
brag
different.
for a second.
All
I was
right.
kind of you in ninth
In which
grade.
way? Okay.
I was punk rock. I had crazy hair.
You
I
were
dressed
Seth.
insane, and
You
so
were
girls,
Seth.
yes, and girls.
You and me were sad.
No, but the older girls were like, "Who's this fun peacock?" And the jocks were like, "Fuck this guy! Why is he getting all the attention for wearing those stupid clothes and that stupid hair?" And they hated me. So
Right.
again, anytime you're competing for love interest, it's going to get gnarly.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Whatever. I was like, I'm done with this. And
Yeah.
Well, yours was compounded.
Didn't they make fun of your accent and all of that?
I felt the need to dramatically change my accent when I
Yeah.
was in school because, like, if I said something, this next sentence, the response would be, excuse me?
Right.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
So it gets so annoying after a point. And, people debate this a lot about immigrants who come in and their accents change. It's basically making it convenient
Easier.
for the person.
Well, because
If
you get sick of
see-
repeating yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
that's happened. Like now, I see my husband, for example, he's American. But when he comes to India, his accent changes because he's trying to
Same thing.
in English.
Yeah.
He has a little bit more of an Indian English accent
Whoa.
because he's trying to make it more convenient for everyone who hears it a certain way.
Interesting.
That's why when I'm in Italy, I say, "Oh, where's the
mi
bathroom?"
arrivederci, my hands are moving.
I want to get to something to
know,
eat.
it's just
Can
a
you
coffee,
tell
a
me?
cigarette, that's
Yes,
great.
they understand so much better.
Okay, my dad has weighed in.
Oh,
What is it?
wonderful!
It is a
Sure.
Malayalam movie.
Oh.
So you might not know it, but he says it's called, he thinks, Puchakani.
Okay, I don't speak Malayalam, but I'm going to research this movie.
Okay. So you're not in it.
No, I haven't done a Malayalam movie yet, but my grandmother was from Kerala.
Oh.
Yes.
I bet my parents probably know that because they're always like, oh, this person's from Kerala. Like it's one of those,
They're
they take a lot
prideful
of
of it, yeah.
pride in that.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, so you go back to India.
That was crazy.
Going back.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I changed. I had boobs. I was 16.
Yeah.
Check
and
these
I
out.
knew, and I knew how to use them.
Right. You had boobs in America.
I had boobs in America, so
Yeah.
I learned how to use them.
Yeah.
But me and my friends, when we were in ninth grade, the thing to do was obviously go to the mall, right? And see how many numbers you can get. Like that
Yes.
was the game. So after school, my aunt would be like, okay, you and friends can go to the mall. And we would compete with how many numbers we could get. At that time, it was written on a piece of paper and slid into your hand in a very clandestine way. So now I come from there. Imagine that girl. I was listening to 90s hip hop. I loved Missy Elliott and Tupac and Biggie and Puffy. And I was living in New York City and I'd moved to Boston.
Oh, wow.
And I was a city girl by now.
You learned to dance some hip hop.
Totally. I
Yeah.
was that girl with puffer
Booty
jacket,
bumping?
jeans,
booty
rollerblades,
bumps.
hoop earrings,
Oh my
the
God.
lip
Yeah.
liner, all that.
Blue eyeshadow.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Eyeliner game on point. Anyway, I come to 11th grade in a small town called Bareilly, and I have to go to an army school because that was the best school in town at that time. Boys and girls. Before that in India, I was in a girls' school. So when I came back, I was like, oh, this is great because I had been in American high school.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm an evolved worldly woman at 16.
Yeah, you're going to come run this shit is what I would be
Totally.
thinking.
And kids wear uniforms in India because they all come from such a different socioeconomic background that to create uniformity, everybody has to wear the same thing. Unlike private schools here, our public schools have uniforms. So kids don't like pick on each other. So all these kids are wearing uniforms. And this is a movie for me because I can see it back so clearly. My dad drove me to the school. I'm wearing flared jeans with clunky heels
Yeah.
that were in that time. I forget what they're called. Clogs. So my legs looked excessively long. I had this long, loose, oversized t-shirt.
Wow.
I was wearing makeup. What? To an Indian school, you're not allowed to wear makeup. And I had my hair up in this big bun.
This is Footloose. The movie you're describing is
Yes.
Footloose.
It was insane, you guys. I can remember this. I want to put it in a scene somewhere in some movie that I make because I felt like a peacock.
Yeah.
I walked into that school and everybody was looking out of their class. They were like, who is that? And I was feeling myself because I was like, no one's wearing heels or makeup in this school.
Yeah.
So, I know more.
Yeah.
And
So much to teach.
You're
at
mature.
school.
so much I want to teach you guys.
Yeah. Class is in
And-
session. I'm the teacher.
It really was. I mean, of course, I had to wear the uniform. Most girls, their uniforms had to be below their knees. But of course, I'd come from an American high school. I'd learned how to show my knees by now.
Yeah.
I was living on the edge. So I used to hem my skirt higher than my knees, and I always got into trouble for it. My chemistry teacher actually called me out in class once and ripped my hem out.
Oh my God.
Okay, I have a pervy question. Were kids in high school in India like hooking up like kids in American high school did? They
you
were.
but you pretend to be really good kids in school.
Kids are
you
still
have
sexual in high
dating and
school. And,
you won't talk about it as much. But
okay, it's not
everyone's
out in
doing
the
it.
open, but it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. People date, people are
Okay.
couples. You just are kind of more discreet about it. You won't be making out in school. You won't be seen doing that.
No hand holding.
No, they handheld.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think this was in my school, Army School, Bareilly, giving you a shout out. We had the couples in class, the ones that were always together. We had parties.
How do you find a Seth there?
I had a few that time.
Okay.
I was playing the field, Dax.
Okay, wonderful.
I
And
was
what
16
kind of
and feeling
So
myself.
impressed.
what kind of guy were you attracted to there?
I had changed. I was more into like expensive rapper types, you know?
Oh, okay.
Or like expensive sports guys.
Sure.
Like I had a crush on this guy in high school in 10th grade, and he was like a varsity football player. So I was in my head, I'm there now when I
But
go
in
back to
America,
India.
Soccer.
Yeah, but you have athletes in India. You know, Monica.
I'm only
people play
I'm only
sports.
half aware of that.
I mean, all kinds of cricket and football and basketball and all of that. That was my lane at that
Okay.
point. I was there just for a year though.
Okay. And so you graduate and you do a few pageants when
I
you
didn't
return.
graduate high
Okay,
school.
I'm sorry.
I've never graduated high school.
job.
What a
guys.
loser.
I know.
I didn't know
dropped
that.
out
No
in
one
12th
told me
grade.
that, so I'm
You're
this
gonna have
interview's
to
over.
leave. No,
Oh,
no.
I dropped out in 12th grade.
But you did a few pageants. I'm imagining like kind of regional, and then ultimately you do this huge pageant. Then Miss World. You become Miss World in 2000. It sounds like you were kind of at that time built for pageants. You're already kind of, you entered school as if like this
I
is
know,
the
for
pageant.
real. I
yes.
did. Like a pop star.
Yes. Like give me the
I was like,
microphone.
I'm Rihanna. And Rihanna hadn't even popped then.
Yes.
You're Rihanna,
But I was-
Rihanna. Oh my God.
In my head.
Pre Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Priyanka. Pre Rihanna.
God, we got there. It's
Priyanka.
It's a stretch, but it kind of works. It works just enough.
I'll take it.
Okay, and now naturally, I'm interested in culturally how things are different. So this is a stereotype, and I could be wrong, but I do think most parents that are intellectuals in the U.S., you take two doctor parents, they're probably not letting their daughter get into the pageant world. Culturally, it's a different thing. And I'm wondering if your parents had any reservations or they were like, this is awesome, go crazy.
Culturally, pageants in America are seen at least now in my view, as exploitative, and you don't really need to have brains to get into a pageant. You don't need to have a conversation. American pageants sort of have that tone.
When
but
Trump's the president of one, it kind of
Exactly.
says
Yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
you need to know.
the tone has been set.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. The brand is clear.
Across truly. But across a lot of Asia, in India, in even South America, Brazil, Colombia, beauty pageants are really looked at as a stepping stone for careers. It's an arm of show business.
Yeah, yeah.
And at that time, for me, I was 17. I had just said, fuck you. And I was like, I'm going to go back to my country, become a peacock where I land. So I was very happy with my landing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I realized that I had to study and I had exams coming up. So 12th grade and 11th grade exams in India are called the boards. The boards are like A levels or O levels in Britain. SATs in America.
Okay.
They
Right.
matter when you're trying to get to college. They matter when you're getting your jobs. They like live in your resume forever.
They matter even more, right? In the same way that in Germany they do. Like, it puts you on a path that's hard to then jump out of.
Yes,
like, you're going to go to a
exams.
vocational school, or you're going to go to university, or you're going to go into the labor
those-
field.
yeah.
Like, it's kind of determinative in a much stronger way
Of
than
what
it is
your
here.
career path will be.
Yes. Like, here you could go to junior college afterwards. You could
Totally.
Right,
There's
yeah.
more
You have
movement,
time as
flexibility.
well. We jump straight into career choices. So I was honor student in America. So I thought I would be an honor student in India. No. No.
A little
They
easier
were
here.
doing like integration in math, and I didn't even know the I of integration. I didn't even know that symbol of integration.
yeah.
We were still doing
I
like,
still don't, as you
That
say
like
it.
you know
Yeah.
it. You'd
you know
recognize
it,
Okay,
but we were doing trigonometry maybe.
Yeah.
That's
which
cute.
Indian kids had done in like 7th grade. So I was drowning when I went back, and I thought, because I was like, I was an honor science student. I took science. So it was physics, chemistry, maths. I was so mad
is
with the
this
decision
bullshit?
of coming back. I had to go to school. I had to take extra classes, tuitions, and I still barely just about passed. And on top of that, I had to do some language as well. I think it was Hindi or something. So I was drowning. This Miss India thing happened really in a weird way. It's like so funny how destiny kind of places you. At least in my life, there was no world in which I ever anticipated entering a pageant. I loved Aishwarya Rai and Sushmita Sen, who were the first Miss World and Miss Universe from India, but they won in 94, 95. and
There
that
was 4 within 7 years when
Yes.
you won.
Yes,
you guys
I was
took
one of them.
over
We
Miss
just like
World.
that decade.
Yeah. You were
was-
here.
That was us. But the first ones that kind of did it in that decade, I was 12 or 13. I was very inspired by the fact that they'd done it because it was a cultural conversation.
Yeah.
And they came in like queens, and they had a homecoming, and they were in their cars, and people were lined up, and they were parading, and it was a cultural movement at that point. India being part of this global thing.
Yeah.
So my brother is 10 years old at this point, and my mom used to get this magazine which always had the ad for Miss India. And I was given my brother's room because I was 16. He was kicked out of his room, and my mom made makeshift hallway into his bedroom, and he was like, I'm sleeping in the hallway and using grandma's toilet.
Oh no.
Not happy about
No
it.
one wants
and
to
I'm
use
like,
grandma or grandpa's toilet.
I know. And
Yeah. And the hierarchy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the
and
last
I
one.
I'm showing off, locking my door in front of him, kicking him out,
Oh my
asking him to say, please may I come in if he has to come back into his room.
These poor little brothers.
I know, little brothers, man.
Same gap,
I have
too,
one
by
too.
the way.
Same gap.
7 years.
8 for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She gave him hell. Yeah.
I gave.
Why do we do that? This
Did
is
you
a little
do?
brother
You did
thing.
it right.
I was like, you have to say, please may I come in? And if you miss any one of those letters, you have to find like a rupee and put it in this envelope.
then they,
he
like,
has to go
did it.
scavenger hunting and steal from my parents to get the money.
I know. I have a lot of
I
regret
taught him
around
valuable
him.
lessons, I think.
There
Of
you go.
resourcefulness. You know, he found the money.
Okay, so you see this ad in this magazine.
He sees this ad. The
Sid sees it.
10-year-old.
Okay.
Sid sees this ad and he tells my mom, she'll have to move to Mumbai, right? If she wins this thing.
Machiavellian. He's like trying to get
Right?
you out.
There's
Good
a
for
lot
him.
of smarty pants in your
Crazy.
house.
Yeah.
Everyone's very smart.
And I had taken these mall shots because I went to take photographs for a scholarship program. And the photographer was like, oh, you're pretty. I want to take pictures. And I was like, yeah, of
course you do.
I'll be back in an hour with a wardrobe of clothes. My mom was like, hell no, I'm coming with you. Anyway, I had these glamour shots. And my brother was like, and we have the photos too. So just for
he
the fuck
did
of
this.
it. Yeah. My mom sent them in. I didn't even know. I was drowning in my exams at this point. Pick up the phone one day And they were like, well, we're calling from Feminist India. You've been selected for the preliminary rounds. You've got to come to Delhi and bring a swimsuit, don't wear makeup, and bring heels.
Wow.
And I was
wow,
like,
wow.
how do you know me? I am thinking because I'm so popular in school in India now.
Yes.
As the American
Oh my
returned
God.
peacock with a short skirt and mascara.
Word has
Word
got
has spread to
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Oh my God.
My teenage self was like really proud of myself because my mom told me what happened.
Oh, this is
And then we had to tell
great.
my dad.
You're like, I'm getting scouted.
I literally thought I was discovered.
Yes.
Just
yes.
because I was like short skirt, hoops, and mascara girl.
Yeah.
The only
I had, like,
American in
headphones
India.
And when I'm going to school,
Get money.
literally in a
Get
music video
money.
every day in my head. So this thing happened, and it happened during my pre-boards, which were like rehearsal exams for the boards. So it was kind of, the timing was right. My mom told my dad. I don't know how she convinced him because he was very conservative about me at that point.
Yeah, well, bring swimsuit and heels.
Yeah.
Dad's
I'm
like,
17.
what?
I'm 17,
Yeah.
not
She's not
18 yet.
going anywhere with
I think
the
most dads are a
combinations.
little like,
Yeah. So my mom was sent with me. My dad was like, only way she's doing it is if you're there. We're sitting in the lobby, and I think I'm all that because I'm popular in school in India. But these girls were models.
yeah.
And they walk in, the doors open, in coordinated clothes with blown out hair. I had my eyebrows done though, guys.
Yes.
I was a
That's
little
your
bit
thing.
prepared. My unibrow was gone.
Uh-huh.
But these women
geez.
looking like gazelles walk in.
Yes.
And I turned to my mom, I was like, this I wasn't prepared for because
Yeah.
this was their careers and I'd never done that. By the skin of my teeth or ignorance, however, I got through and was top 30 and had to go to Mumbai for the pageant, which was right before my boards. So now I'm like, I can't study and I will fail the boards. So my parents and I started talking about taking a gap year and giving an exam the next year because now like I was in this pageant and I didn't know what was happening. I happened to win it.
Yes.
Yes.
Then now people know me. People are taking pictures of you, which is so weird.
You were made for this.
But, yeah, I was
But
just
I
gonna
thought
say.
the crown was like a uniform. I would wear it while I was brushing. Because I was like, in
Like,
my
I
brain, I was,
guess-
this is my job now.
Right.
You know, you're an ambassador to your country. An
Oh,
ambassador.
yeah.
of
Taking
my
it
I took it so
seriously.
seriously at 17. Like,
But
I
listen-
laugh at that girl now.
In some weird, bizarre way, with all my loud clothing and hairdos, I was practicing to be famous. So for me, it felt very natural
Yeah.
to get attention. I was like, oh, I've already been practicing
Maybe,
this in
that's
school.
true.
You kind
Sounds
of willed
terrible,
it in
but-
some ways.
You know, you're right, because when I was in high school, I used to leave my home dressed as something else because my aunt was super conservative. I used to wear like oversized shirts and like jeans. And then me and my 3 or 4 other outcast friends, we were the hot outcasts.
Yeah.
Yes.
We used to go to the Salvation Army and skip lunch and save money and get some stuff from there, cut patchwork, make short shorts, like tied up crop tops.
You were
and
practicing being stared at, and you either
Totally.
you get comfortable
Asked
with
for
it.
it.
Yes, yes,
asked
yeah,
for it,
yes,
opened up my
Wanted it.
hair,
Yeah.
wanted it.
Yes, yeah.
Totally.
So when you win this thing, and all of a sudden, like the light switch turns on, and people are taking your picture, and you're in magazines and stuff, you're kind of like, "That's right, I'm a dolphin in water."
I didn't figure that out till this moment. And thank you for articulating that, because my uncle used to say this to me, my mom. He was like, she can't pass a reflective surface without looking at her reflection.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that must have been telling for my family.
Right.
Like now they say that. They're like, we should have known.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I have a question about the pageant. Was there any colorism stuff happening there?
In India,
Yeah, at that time.
colorism was so normalized in the industry at that time that we had sponsors that were fair and lovely. So many of us had done commercials that were get fair skin. Again, post-colonial effects where we think it's normal. Obviously, since social media broke out and there's conversation about how damaging that is to our own narrative. I remember when I joined movies, I was considered dusky. It was written, the dusky actress. Like, what is dusky? What does it mean? Yet I did a commercial because you're doing a beauty brand. A beauty brand is a really big part of an actress's trajectory. And all the beauty brands were selling those creams.
What I'm trying to imagine is it was maybe as benign as when you see teeth whitening commercials. Like no one's
Literally.
seeing teeth whitening commercials thinking there's some moral imperative being broken, right?
It
It's
was
just-
as normalized as that.
Yeah, like you want
Men
white teeth.
did it, women did it,
Yeah.
actors did it. They're doing it even even now,
I want
it
darker
was-
cream.
I know.
Well, yeah,
I
in
wanna go
America,
darker.
everyone's trying to
America,
get
yeah.
tan.
You
It's
wanna
the
go-
grass is green on the other side.
Yes,
Everyone's trying to
yes.
get light in Asia.
Yes.
Everyone's trying to get tan in America. But there is a massive equity on lighter skin in Asia. They want to aspire for it. Even now, India got her independence in 1947. We're not even like a century old.
Exactly.
It's a very recent thing that happened. And in our own country, we have signs that said dogs and Indians not allowed outside restaurants and
In
stuff.
your own country.
In our own country,
Yeah,
in India.
Yeah.
We were picked up in boatloads taken across the world as servants. So there was a lot that was taken by colonization and left behind. This is my hypothesis. I don't claim to be an expert, but I really think that these are all damaging. Our parents were taught that. Literally, if you see matrimonial commercials, it'd be like fair girl required. And even in beauty, when I joined the movie business, if you were fair, you were guaranteed some form of success or casting. But if you were darker, and I'm not even that dark.
Exactly.
For Indians, for darker girls, it was like, well, let's lighten you up. I was lightened up in many movies
Digitally or through the lighting?
Through
They
makeup.
would overlight you.
Through
or
makeup and then
Okay.
blasting lighting.
Yeah.
There was a song which I still remember, and it was called Chitti Dudh Kudi, which means a girl who's as white as milk. And I ain't that.
Mhm. But
I
you were
was
playing
cast in
her.
it, but I was playing her, and I was like really lightened up in the movie.
You were in whiteface.
I think I was. But
Yeah.
that was also something makeup artists used to do. It was such a damaging narrative, but it was the end of it when I started. I would credit my generation, and I will credit social media and the conversations, the good stuff that's come out of the world becoming a smaller
Yeah.
place is we can call this shit out. The stuff that's normalized, even for educated, smart people by culture, can be called out and can be changed. And you're seeing that in India now. You're seeing a pride with our brown skin. It's crazy to be racist with other brown skin people
Yeah,
when
but
you're all
it's
brown. It was
prevalent.
cultural. And I see so many people back in India, in the world, because of the conversation being like, wait a second, I don't need to aspire for that. In fact, let me sit out in the sun. Like I had to get my mom used to that concept as well, because there's this thing of don't sit out in the sun.
No, I know.
You'll get dark. And
Yes.
I love the sun.
Same. I'm like a sun,
Sun
worshiper.
worshiper.
I like fry in the sun.
Same, but
for
I used to
hours.
go on spring break and just cover myself in towels.
Yeah.
And all my white friends are just like putting
Getting
oil
skin cancer.
on.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we were taught
Getting
that
melanoma.
damaging bullshit. Even I got caught up into it, and I look back on that. The commercial was so damaging. I'm darker skinned, and this guy comes in. I was selling flowers, and he comes in, and he doesn't even look at me. And I start using this cream, and I get a job. I get the guy, and all my dreams come true.
Yeah.
And that was like mid 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nuts.
Okay. We're going to zip a little bit now. We're going to put our pedal to the metal because in 2000, you win this. And then, as is the course in India, you start getting lots of offers for movies. And so now you start working just straight through to 2015-ish. You do movies in India and you become an enormous star in India. You're Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie is Priyanka, however you want to phrase it.
I
to
love that you
benefit.
did that. Though,
Yes,
'cause
yes.
They come after you.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Angelina Jolie is
Exactly.
the Priyanka of the US. All these enormous milestones for you. Your first super successful movies, 03, you've got a breakout starring role in a thriller in 04 that people love. You have a really pretty meteoric rise. You have a shitty fucking year, which is what I'm most interested in. 2008 is fucking rough for you, right? You have like 6 movies in a row that don't pan out. I had a couple questions as I learned this history. A, how many movies a year? You did 5 movies
Like
in
4 or
a row.
5 a year.
So I'm curious the difference of working here and there.
Totally.
So that's one of
I've
them,
had
right?
to
That-
learn it so I can make the distinction for you.
Yeah, so one is the amount of work you do if you're a working actor there. You might do 5 movies a year. That's quite different from here. So you're filming all year round. What are the hours like there? Do you have a trailer there? Are you treated the same? Do you have a union with a turnaround? How did it differ?
We have unions, we have amazing trailers, we have hours, but we live on IST. It's called Indian Stretchable Time. You know, we kind of don't hold on to that. Some actors do. Who'll say, you know, we don't work Sundays. I leave at 6 o'clock. And some people don't, you know. But when you're starting out, I didn't know what the industry was about. I didn't know how to be an actor. So I kind of had to learn. And in order to learn and be good in my first few movies, I kind of had to just observe. And I think young people in a country like India, or I think all over the world, even in the States, we are told that you have to grind yourself to the ground if you want to win. There's a romanticization around not taking time.
Paying
and,
your dues.
You know, you have to pay for it. You have to work hard. You
Hyper
have to-
productivity.
Yes. So if you want the job, you're going to do as much work as needed. And I think I was on that train. And also culturally in India at that time, they're like top 10 actors and top female 10 actors. They're the ones that do the biggest movies in the decade. They're the ones that are relevant in the decade or the few decades.
They're often-
paired together.
Right.
And those 10 change almost every 2 decades or so as new generations come in.
Right. And I'm super ignorant on this, but even when I was reading about the movies, some of them, your first movies aren't described as Bollywood movies. And then it says, then she did her first Bollywood movie. How does that differ within?
So Tamil and Telugu and Malayalam. So India has almost every state has a different written and spoken language. So the alphabet changes as well. Gurmukhi is a different alphabet. Tamil is a different alphabet. Tamil is from the state of Tamil Nadu.
And that's what
Malayalam.
you first were doing Tamil
Yes,
movies?
I did. My
Yeah.
first movie was a Tamil movie. My family is also from Kerala. There they speak Malayalam. And all of these states have
If
their
her grandma
own.
was friends with your grandma.
Oh my God.
That would be amazing.
That would be so
would be cool.
amazing. I'm going to do some digging.
But they all have their own localized film industries, which speak in Malayalam or Tamil. European movies are made out of Spanish and French and different languages. So my first one happened to be in Tamil, and then at Bollywood is Hindi language. And that first one was in 2003.
Okay. And then you do Bollywood movies
Yeah.
for a long time. And these are the ones that are the big blockbusters.
Yes. I did indie movies too. I did some which were predominantly on my shoulders as well, which was very new at that time because the big movies were always with the big actors. So the girls had to covet working with the 5 or 7 big actors.
Alpha
Yeah.
male dudes.
And it's never been my strong suit. I'm not the best at kissing the ring.
yeah.
It's
I love
hard
that.
for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt that
I mean-
today, right, when you walked in.
It's an admirable quality.
I'm gonna be honest, you guys are in the business. Networking is a part of it. We all have to suck it up and do it sometimes.
Yeah.
The award circuit, the parties, like you do it. But it's the being cast because you're the flavor of the season. That was just hard for me, but I did a lot of it.
Please excuse my ignorance. I am trying to learn, but I have this stereotypical paradigm that I think Bollywood is a little bit. I think of it as being like Hollywood more in the 50s. The movie stars are held up a little higher. Back then in the 50s, they were. And maybe the off-screen life's a little more curated. You're playing a part in the social drama as well as being an actor.
I don't think you're far from it, but I think that was what it was. It was like
And
Hollywood
that's
in the 50s,
changing.
the big studios, the 5 actors, the big movies would be made by them, male dominated. But the game has changed so much, first of all, with streaming and giving access to so many more actors, writers, directors, so
Yeah.
many more people that are making content.
Well, and you personally having huge hits.
Sure,
Where,
yes.
And you're the poster, and that had not happened.
That also changed. A lot more girls were doing movies on their shoulders. Yes, they were smaller budgets, but they started doing well at the box office. There have been precedent before us, but few and far in between. It didn't happen the numbers that it started happening. And Bollywood has evolved in such an incredible way where you have that mainstream big movie, which is like the big actors and the action and the love story and the dancing. It's
Triple
our
R for
it's
us
our
is the one I
Avengers.
saw.
Yeah, that's a Tamil movie, by the way. That's like a big, mega blockbuster
Yeah.
Tamil movie, which does all of those
5
things.
dance set pieces.
It's like our Avengers. People will come out to see those big movies, but we also have every genre within Bollywood. When I first came to America, we've had a few actors from Hindi movies who've worked in America. Aishwarya Rai, Irfan Khan, Om Puri, Anupam Kher, amazing actors who've come before me. When I first came to Hollywood and I saw on streamers, Bollywood was a genre.
Right. The
It was
entire
like,
thing.
Yes, it was like action, comedy, Bollywood.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I'm like, hold on.
yeah.
There's a whole universe of the same genres
Exactly.
within that as well.
Right.
So there's a massive evolution. The movies are catering to everyone and everything.
What was the life of a movie star at that time for you? similar to the life of a movie star in the US?
I don't think you guys have seen that stardom.
Right.
Right,
It's a
that's
different
my
I
level.
hunch.
think Tom Cruise
Yeah.
has seen that. I'm not that, but that we have actors that have that kind of allegiance
But,
and love.
You're very recognizable at home during this time.
Yes.
The disparity in pay is even worse there at that time, no?
Yes.
You're like 10%. You're
Like
making 10% of what
5
the
or
male
10% of what
actors
the
are
guys
making.
are
So really bad.
Definitely no back end.
So you're hugely famous, but you're not profiting in a way.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
That's like there's some disconnect there.
We did not profit in the same way for the longest time.
Yeah.
But again, that was a change my generation of actresses did. So many of them asked for parity, got it, got their names at the same credit with the guy if they were co-leads. Those were things that mattered, and movies are sold on the guy and the girl now. I think that change was a demand by the newer generation coming in and saying, great, but make a Bollywood blockbuster movie with me too. That was a great transition to kind of witness.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, so you have this rough '08. You're like, everything's going great. Then you have some tanks in a row, and then people are starting to write in India like, well, that was fun. That's
Finished.
That was
I
her
had a
time.
cover
Yes.
which said finished on my face.
Finished. What were you personally seeing your face and then saying finished? That's also a believable narrative because before you, that was happening nonstop. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't be hard for you to believe yourself. Oh, wow. I don't even know what age you were at that time. Maybe
Must have been like
30.
No, earlier, 20 something.
Yeah, like, okay, wow, this ride's
Late
over.
20s.
What's next? I didn't take my boards.
Yeah.
How
High school
panicked?
dropout over here.
How panicked were you?
I was panicked. My mom was panicked. She came to me and she goes, "You're going to be 30 soon." And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "You know, that's old in this industry. They want to work with 20-year-olds. And so you need to think about a revenue stream if you're going to sustain yourself." My mom, business girl, she was like thinking ahead. And it's so sad that she had to come and tell me in my ripe old age of 30
Oh my God.
that my career would not be the same. But it was a fact. It was a concern. I got into production because of that, actually. But I was terrified when those 6 movies didn't do well because I'm not a Nepo baby. I didn't have that kind of support which exists in a big way in Bollywood movies. You know, they are multi-generational actors that come in and get multiple opportunities versus the ones that come in from outside. You don't have your uncle making a new movie for you just because their last one tanked.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to get it and you have to like hustle for it. I'm not the best schmoozer anyways. So that was like, I'm never going to be cast
Yeah.
in a big movie again. And that was one of the big reasons why I took on a movie on my shoulders. It was out of necessity, which turned out to be career defining for me. But I
Isn't
was
this life is so wonderful? Like,
Yeah,
that
I was
out of failure
terrified.
comes sometimes the most.
Yeah.
completely. We worked on that script for 6 months. And I told the filmmaker, I was like, I have a chip on my shoulder a little bit because why don't we get to do this?
Yeah, yeah.
Why
It's a
is
good
it
place
always
to
the
work
guys
from.
that do that?
Yeah.
And then we made storyboards and we made the movie as a collaboration with the writers, me, the cast, the director. And it was the first time I felt like I had agency in what I was doing. And that really changed how I worked. The movies that I picked, I didn't run after the big mainstream movies after that. I started doing obscure parts. I started
Was it-
working with filmmakers I enjoyed.
Is it fair to say you were in a kind of a phone ringing business?
Yeah.
They call and say you're in a
Totally.
pageant you didn't know you fucking submitted to.
Yeah.
And then you're in the pageant and they call and say, we want you in these movies. And it seems like maybe you realize if I don't steer this, if I allow other
Phone's
people,
going to stop ringing.
eventually it'll stop
It'll
ringing.
stop ringing.
Okay, so then you have great success for the next 7 years. Why decide to come here? And I just want to preface it by saying your story reminds me of only one other guest, and that's Selma Hayek.
Yes.
We had her, and I don't know if you know her story, but she was like the biggest star in Mexico. And she came here and was like, not a human being knew who she was. And she had to start entirely over again. That
Me
wasn't
too.
your case per
Totally
se.
was.
Well, you start on a show, which is great. But,
Well,
but
how did I get that show?
Okay, tell us
Yeah,
that story.
tell us.
But
That's the
regardless,
Yeah.
even going from what you were in India in the feature space to being on an ABC show like the rest of us is a big
Yeah. And
Gap.
nobody knowing your name.
Nobody knowing my name.
yes. So how do you decide you want to even put yourself through that? Why do you decide to put yourself through that? And then what was it like?
I was, and I've never said this, so I'm going to say it because y'all make me feel safe.
Yay.
I started with a music career in America. I have 4 lonely singles out there and about 100 songs on my laptop. I was signed by Interscope Records. Jimmy Iovine was my A&R. And
Wow.
my now manager, Anjula Acharya, she had a record label called Desi Hits, and she was trying to do Indian acts in America in music, and saw me in some video, and I was in the middle of a movie where I was an artiste. I wasn't looking at my phone. It was called Sat Khoon Maaf, which is basically Susanna and her 7 husbands. I killed 7 husbands. It's an acting role.
Yeah.
I was in
Method.
prosthetics at 3:00 in the morning,
Living the
I wasn't
part.
picking up phone calls. I was in the small village. I was living on set.
You redefined yourself
Yeah.
like you like
I
to
was
do
like-
in school and towns.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying
I was
on a
like,
new
I'm not
persona.
going to do the mega movies. I'm going to be an actor.
Serious.
Yeah.
So I wasn't taking phone calls, but my publicist at the time, Natasha, she goes, just take this one. So I remember I had to go onto the rooftop to get better signal because I was in Coorg, which is a small little town. And I spoke to this woman. I'd recorded a demo just because I love music. And she's like, I
You
heard
and your
this
dad
demo.
used to sing together,
My
a
dad
show.
used to
So
sing,
sweet.
yeah.
Yep.
And she goes, I love this demo. Would you be open to music? And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, I'd never been in a studio for real. So she flew down, the head of Universal Music. And I was like, okay, I'll be a rock star if you think I can. Sure, great.
Of course.
But at that same time, the part of it that I said that I've never spoken about before, I was being pushed into a corner in the industry. I had people not casting me for reasons. I had beef with people. And
That's exciting.
again, I'm not good at the
Playing that game.
game.
Politics.
So I kind of was tired of the politics. I was just like, I need a break. And this music thing gave me an opportunity to go into another part of the world, not crave for the movies I wanted to get, but I would require to schmooze certain clubs and like cliques of people. And it would require like groveling. And I had worked for a long time by then that I didn't feel like I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So when this music thing came, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go to America. And Interscope was amazing. They threw the building at me. I worked with Pitbull. I worked with will.i.am. I worked with Pharrell. I worked with Matthew Coma. I worked with
That's
Esther
wild.
Dean. I worked with Red One. I worked with incredible artists. I had dinner with Bruce Springsteen and his wife. I met Jay-Z. I was like, I was living the dream.
Yeah, you're living your
Beyonce.
15-year-old
Yeah,
dream with
I
your
was
headphones
like,
on.
what is
Listening to-
happening?
Yeah, Biggie Smalls.
I got completely caught up in this music thing, and I was like, I'm a pop star now. Forget
yeah.
doing movies. Quickly to realize I was much better at my day job than I was at this music thing. But that lasted about 2 years, and I remember Jimmy saying, well, you're spending a lot more time in America. Why don't you look for representation here for acting?
Yeah.
Just see what it could be like. I was having trouble back home anyway with being cast in the kind of movies that I wanted to be cast in. So I did it, and Jimmy helped me get in with CAA. They signed me on, and then it started.
But again, the fact that you needed help
I
getting
did.
signed,
I needed
that's
to be
insane.
referenced
Yes.
by my label to CAA. Nobody was taking me
With several number
meetings
one movies.
at that time.
Being the biggest movie star.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I was
that's
the first
crazy.
actor from my part of the world to be signed by CAA also.
Really?
What about Frida Pinto?
Yeah, I don't know who she was with, but she came here and worked.
She was
That
like the
was
first one that seemed to be embraced.
She was one. Aishwarya Rai was very embraced and loved. Mindy Kaling. But Frida, because she's from India,
We're going to count that one.
she definitely counts.
Yeah.
She's done some amazing work. But we're like 6 or 7 of us.
Right.
Yeah. Out of a
You
billion.
can count us on your hands. But at that time, I'm just going to take meetings. Will people take meetings with me? And that was so hard and humbling. And I realized I'm not going to carry the baggage of my career from another country and assume and be entitled that I'm going to get that kind of
But
treatment.
that's a very abrupt adjustment.
Yes.
It was hard. I really wanted to go to the Live Nation party because I was doing music that time around the Grammys. And I was like, I really want an invite to that party because now I'm a pop star. So I was like, I need to go to that party. We didn't get invited. Anyway, next year, I'm like, please can we go to that party? Finally get an invite. Super excited. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to this party because it's like A-listers only, right? Of music. So I was so excited. I walk in and I'm like, where are the A-listers?
Yeah.
There was this one tent where all the who's who were hanging and I wasn't in that tent.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, shit, I'm going to have to walk there. I don't know people. They don't
Yes.
know me.
Yeah.
Toes were curling. Back to Cedar Rapids
Yeah.
and cafeteria was as terrifying as that was for me.
Well, that's the really funniest thing is when you're on the outside of all of it, if you're a kid from Michigan like me and you think once you're at the party, you're at the party. But then you go through the whole thing and like we get invited to the Golden Globes and we're like, oh, this is cool. We're at the Golden Globes. And we're like, oh, we're at the tables for TV people and the movie people are in front by the stage. And you're like, oh, I guess there's always
There always is that
always.
thing. And it's humbling, you know. Our industry is very good at humbling people.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yeah. It's literally like there's 4 people that are just kind of in the sweet spot for a moment. And then
Yeah.
everyone else is just kind of gazing.
But it is such a unique, I don't know anyone besides, like you said, Salma Hayek, who could relate to this of being literally the top of the
Yes.
pyramid. And then all of a sudden, and you're like, I can't get into this tent.
The parallel's working. You send Angelina Jolie to Delhi, and she's got to take general meetings with associate producers to start.
Do you think it works that way? I feel like she'd be able to.
I think
Well,
she'd
she's a
get-
global movie
because she's a
star.
global movie star.
Yeah.
But I
But-
think now it has definitely changed again because of streaming. You have audiences around the world that watch a lot more English language entertainment than there has ever been in the
Yeah.
history of English language entertainment. So now would be a different time. But at that time, and it was hard to do, and there were many tears involved.
You get an opportunity to prove to yourself once again.
But what was scary was I had to set up home in the States, which meant not working back home. And I had maintained my career by doing like 4 movies a year. I was like, I'm a greedy actor. I won't let anyone else do it. I'm going to do it all. And now here I am not working.
Doing nothing.
In my career. And my bread and butter comes from there. And I had to come here, take meetings and go to parties and go show my show reel to filmmakers and say like, this is what I've done.
Yeah, I can fucking sing. I can
I can do
dance.
all
I
of
can do
it.
action. I can do
I
thriller.
can do all
I
of
can
it.
do comedy.
Will you cast me?
Yeah. So how'd you get Quantico?
So I was doing the circuit. I happened to be at actually an intimate dinner with Kelly Lee, who at that time was the VP of casting for ABC. And ABC was having a moment with like Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder
Yeah.
and Grey's Anatomy with having female
Success
leads that
with-
were diverse. So it was in that moment I met her at a party and I was talking to her about seeking work in America and like wanting to be an actor here now. I decided my music career was over by then. I was like talking to her about what would be an approach for someone like me that has not done any English language work. Like, how do I do that? So she, after a few days, reached out to my manager and was like, would she do TV? And that's a 7-year commitment.
Yeah.
When you sign that
yeah,
contract, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
wait, so
Yeah.
before
And by
you
the
even
way,
get the job,
By the way,
Yes.
it would be longer, but that's the legal limit and
That's
the
the-
length of a
I was
contract that can be
dying.
signed in California.
I was like, what?
You're like one show. You're like, I do 45 movies
And
in
I'm not
7
even
years.
cast for this show yet.
Yeah.
When I had a talent deal that she offered me. She was like, we're going to find you a show. We want you to be on ABC. Here's 30 scripts. Come for pilot season and audition. It was one of my first few auditions was Quantico. I hadn't done auditions in years because I was Miss World. So I was cast in movies and then my movies did well. So nobody asked me to do
Yeah,
auditions.
auditioning is brand new.
It was new at that time for me.
Wow.
And I did a few.
And a
Quantico
terrible
was one of them.
experience.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
There's so many girls that were sitting on those chairs and you're sitting like waiting for someone to come out. I just couldn't sit there. I went to the bathroom, sat on the commode, and I was like, I'm just going to wait here. It makes me feel safe.
But also, your ego must have been exploding. I'm sitting in a room with all these people who have never done anything. And
I've done
no,
60
have done.
movies.
There were some
I'm sure
substantial
some.
actors.
I'm sure some
but
have,
not
with
the
your
kind of
credits and-
filmography. Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't imagine.
I think it's good. I think you just click in. You're like, yeah, this is
I
where we're
did.
at. We're going to party.
I was in warrior mode.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
all right, I'm a preparation kind of actor. So I was like, okay, these are the 2 scenes. I play an American girl. I play an FBI agent. I need to work on my accent because, you know, I have this confused, I don't know where I'm from accent now.
Yeah.
I'd read the pilot, so I knew what the tone of the show was. And I worked with an acting coach. I did the diligence when I went in. And when I got the job, I realized that that's all it takes. And that comes very naturally to me is prep. So with every job that I have gotten from like smaller roles in features that I did, which I needed to kind of build my English language filmography, I had a lot of people who knew me from my Indian film days questioning why I went to Hollywood to do small parts in B-grade movies is what they would say. How embarrassing, Priyanka.
Mexico was pretty mad at Selma. They felt
Yeah.
like she left.
Sold my soul.
Yeah, sold
the devil.
out or it wasn't good enough for her.
That really prepared me to have a sense of accomplishment because I saw so many other girls in contention for that part and I worked on it and I got it. That just changed me, and I did not have a pride about walking into uncomfortable zones and taking a meeting. One of my meetings was Jen Salke was just taking a general, finished Quantico. She was a new person on the show. I asked and asked and asked, and she was gracious enough to sit down with me. And Citadel came from it. Just like-minded people talking about what we want to do. That one audition at that phase in my life really defined me.
I just realized that the biggest, you don't listen to the show, so you don't know what ding, ding, ding is, but the biggest ding, ding, ding is about to come our way. Because before I even stumbled upon this Angelina Jolie parallel that I'm beating to death, what I wanted to say about Citadel was it's so Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Like the vibe.
Ooh.
Fun,
AJ love.
sexy, playful, comedic, cool action. It's very Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Nice.
God, I can't believe how convenient that
With
is.
a lot more drama, though. They had a lot more like chemistry.
Well, I think they're fucking in real life, as we know. So
that's
yeah,
true,
yeah,
too.
that
That's
That's an
helps.
assumption we could easily make.
Yeah, they
our
went on to marry
characters-
after that.
It's more like we're lying to each other, and it's like betrayal.
The world there is a spy organization, Citadel, and it is loyal to no nation.
So think like dystopian future, just a little bit ahead of where we are. There's a lot of war, as we can see, that's happening in the world. It's reached America. And the world decided they'll share intelligence for the betterment of humanity and not keep intelligence to themselves. As you can see, like, politicians politicize and we never know anything. So this is an organization that shares intelligence so that you can counter terrorism or war and curb it. The show starts with Citadel falling. It's infiltrated, and the bad guys in our world, their take is, who are you to decide the sinners and the saints?
Yeah, anti-globalists.
Basically.
Yeah.
Or anti-like government. Even,
Yeah,
you
Big
know?
Brother, all this shit.
They're like,
yeah.
who are you to decide culturally whether that's
Yeah.
right for me or not?
And Richard Madden, who Rob Stark.
Rob
Loved
Stark.
Rob Stark.
Yes.
What a babe.
He's such a babe, though.
Hated when he was murdered at that red wedding.
Yeah, that was
But they were
sad.
killing
I thought-
everyone.
Yeah,
I
but
know,
it
but I
was
thought
sad.
they're
the
going to keep
show.
this hot one around.
They kill the hot ones first.
Yeah,
That's-
always.
That's why that
Always.
show was so gangster.
It was.
They killed the hottest members of that cast. And you're like,
Totally. They were brutal.
yes, keep him around. He's gorgeous. They had a deep bench, as we
They
would say in
sure
sports.
did.
They could kill some of these hotties. But anyways, Richard is playing an agent with amnesia.
Citadel has fallen. It's been infiltrated. And we have this thing, because it's spies and we have spy tech. They have this thing where they can give you amnesia. So they wipe your memories. Because now it was infiltrated by the bad guys. They wipe your memories. So you basically don't remember anything from the point you wake up.
Born, that's the
Yeah.
porn
Yes.
premise. Also, Men in Black, they had the little
Love
thing.
Born.
Look at this.
Exactly. Your memories are
Yeah.
gone. So you don't remember what happened before this or your relationships. And obviously we have history.
Yes, it's very
And
spicy.
obviously some of us remember it and some of us don't.
Ooh.
In comedy,
Fun.
he's discovering
And fun.
this, and he's suspicious that Priyanka also is one. And he chucks a knife at her.
So funny.
And she like dodges it. And she's like, what the fuck? You just threw a knife at me. He's like, I'm really sorry. I was expecting you to catch that. That you would remember how to catch that. So it's like in the middle of this, that's the kind of magic Mr. and Mrs. Smith energy
Well,
that's
and it's
happening.
the Russo brothers.
Who are phenomenal. If you don't know the Russo brothers, they started in comedy, like Arrested Development.
That's right.
I loved Community.
Community, yeah.
Exactly.
Loved Community. I still go back and watch that sometimes just for my soul.
But then they've done, 6 Marvel movies. So the quality and the production value of Citadel is enormous. This is like a tentpole show for Amazon. It's clearly like they fucking backed up the Brinks truck and made a huge epic show.
Yeah.
This is a very big show for you to be doing.
It is. It's an amazing opportunity. I mean, I said yes before I even knew the story.
Sure.
Just on the premise.
Well,
Yeah.
After you add in Russo brothers, I'm like, yeah.
You said
Yeah.
Russo Brothers, Amazon Studios, global original IP franchise.
Yeah, somehow it's going to be like this is the home base show, and then there's going to be different iterations in different languages, I think I read.
So it's so cool. It's never been done on TV or film before. Citadel is the American version of the show. Because it's a global spy organization, that is going to be the American show. It's an English language show. And then we have an Indian show, which is my character's origin story. Then there's an Italian show with just finished production, which is sort of another origin story. So basically, the stories are all kind of connected.
That's
we
awesome.
move time. We're in local countries speaking local languages. So the Italian show is in Italian. The social experiment of it all, which is so perfect for Amazon because they're so global, is will a Italian speaking person who consumes their entertainment only in the Italian language watch a Hindi language show because they want to know what happened to that character's
love
story.
this.
Isn't that crazy?
It's really cool.
It's wild. And it's the potential of going to so many other countries as the show develops.
And are you in all of these
Well, our
shows?
characters are referred to.
Yeah.
There's cross-pollination.
I love this.
You might get to bounce around the globe.
I'm so excited about that.
Touch down in different.
In different territories where I would have never been able to work, but to do something. It's just such a cool concept. And then the production value at which they've done it, it's 6 episodes and each episode is a movie. We haven't seen that kind of scale when it comes to action and stuff on TV.
Again, it's the Russo brothers. It looks like you're watching like Marvel level quality
I'm so
of
excited.
fighting, explosions, chases. It's epic.
Yeah.
And you adore Richard? Is he
love him.
lovely?
He's such a sweetie. He's precious though. Richard needs to be protected at all times.
I like that.
Yeah, I like to be his like come
You're his
and give me a hug.
bodyguard.
Yeah,
And they're not going to kill the hot people, are they?
I don't
in
know,
this
man.
one?
I don't want to lose my job yet.
Yeah. Friend of ours is also on it. The Tooch.
The Tooch.
Stanley Tucci.
We've had him on. We
Favorite.
love him.
How charming is that motherfucker?
Oh my gosh.
I
My
know.
wife did a movie with him and she came home and she's like, I gotta be honest with you, I am so hot for Tucci. I'm like, Stanley Tucci, really? And she's like, wait till you meet him in person.
It's
And I
just-
did, and
he's
I'm like,
such
yeah.
a class act.
Yeah, we were really taken by
Timeless.
him. And he invited us to dinner. And he
yeah.
can
Did he
cook.
cook?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
He's just such a class act. I want to be Stanley Tucci in every possible way. He was doing so much work when we were filming this that getting his schedule.
oh, I'm sure.
Because he was doing his cooking show.
And he's in every show and every
Yes.
movie. He used to do 8 scenes a day when he shot
Wow.
Citadel. And he can do it. That's why he's the douche. He's bada, 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 bada. His lines are out. He's done with the scene in like an hour.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Dream.
Yeah. There's a cute interaction with Priyanka looking in her bag, and there's some cool new gizmos in there, and they're communicating. He's off site somewhere, and he goes, oh, yeah, there's some new toys in there. I designed them for my favorite agent. And she said, oh. And then he goes, but he didn't want them, so I gave them to you.
Yeah.
He's so funny in this show. He brings that charm and charisma that you need when you're watching multiple
Yeah.
episodes. He's amazing.
classy.
Our cast is really amazing.
Okay, people would light my house on fire if I didn't talk about Nick for 2 seconds.
well,
I mean, they would really
your
be like,
daughter
how the
would.
fuck did you get through a 2-hour interview with Priyanka and then we got nothing about Nick? So my kids, I have an 8 and 9-year-old girls, and about 4 years ago, they were starting to get really into the Jonas Brothers, and they would talk about the Jonas Brothers. And I would say to them, you know, the fucking Jonas Brothers wish they were me. So that was my joke for like years, right? We're in Tennessee visiting friends. I'm pushing my then 5-year-old on a swing. She's not a daredevil. This is not her. The older one is a daredevil. This one is not. I'm pushing her, and she's high up on the swing, and all of a sudden she just bails off of the swing. I assume it's a mistake.
Like she's falling.
Yes, she flies through the air. She lands in the grass. She rolls. I run over to her because I think she's about to scream bloody murder. And I go, oh my God, are you okay? And she goes, Jonas Brothers wish they were me. The whole thing was a bit to say, the Jonas Brothers wish they were me.
So cute.
I started screaming loud. I could not believe that was even ruminating in her head, and she pulled that off. Anywho, I don't know a bunch about the Jonas Brothers, but I know about Nick from Kingdom, which was an incredible show that was underwatched. Deserved a much bigger audience. So fucking
It
good.
revived when it had a re-release, I think.
It certainly found an audience, but in my opinion, that thing deserved to be really
Amazing show.
huge and in the conversations that some of the other big, huge shows are. And then Jonathan Tucker, and
Amazing.
adore him, right? Okay,
Love him.
you guys met in May of 18, and he proposed in July of 18.
Wow.
Now,
We went on our first date, May of 18.
Right.
We didn't meet. the
You'd
first
already
time.
met.
oh, okay, this helps me because I'm thinking, gang, that is not enough.
No, this wasn't an arranged marriage.
That's not enough time.
No, it's not enough time. Even though my
But here we
parents
are
got
5 years
married
later,
in
so it
10
worked.
days.
Did
And
they?
it wasn't an arranged marriage. They like found each other. They were both rebounding from other relationships and then got married in
Really?
10 days.
Okay.
Lasted their whole lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm sitting here talking to you 5 years later. If I was talking to you on, let's say, August of 18, and
Yeah.
you told me you just got engaged, I was like, great. When did you? Oh, our first date was in May. I go, oh my God, sister, I'm worried.
A lot of people were.
Yes. So
a lot
I'm,
of people
I'm
commented
delighted.
on
Okay, so you knew each other somehow before that.
He slid into my DMs.
Oh, what a move.
Oh, he did.
So we had a few common friends.
This is encouraging.
Yes, for me, I'm very encouraged. Yeah.
I was in a tumultuous relationship at that time. This is 16. And we had common friends who like didn't want me to be in my relationship and were like, oh, he's single too. And he's really not with that girl, but he is. You know, it was like complicated on both our ends. So our friends were like, you guys should meet. And it didn't happen. His brother loved Quantico. Kevin loves network TV. And like I love network TV.
Yeah.
I'm really glad he did because he told Nick, pointed me on a billboard and he was like, you should call her.
Yeah.
And so he had a few people being like, call her. So he just DM'd me. And I was like, why don't you text me? Because my social team reads these messages.
yeah.
And he was like, yeah. You just wanted to give me your number. I kind of did.
Sure.
But I didn't want to admit it at that time because I was in a relationship. So
Well,
didn't
can I
want
ask
to-
quickly, what was your pattern up to that point to 2018? Were you a serial monogamous? Did you
Yes,
did you
I
date
was in
people for long times?
relationships.
Okay.
6 years, 5 years average, but back to back to back to back.
Great. I got a vibe.
But when Nick texted me in like 16 and slid into my DMs and we started chatting, I was at the end of my last long relationship
Right,
before
right.
Nick. So I didn't want to engage as much at that time. I was also like 35. Nick was 25.
Yeah.
I really put a stop on it in a way because I judged the book by the cover.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to settle down. I've been there, done the like fun dating
You've had some boy
thing.
toys.
Yeah, I've had pool toys, boy toys,
yes.
boys into pool toys,
Pool boys.
pool boys,
Pool
done
boys
that,
with
been
toys.
there. But I was like ready to get serious and not realizing my husband is actually a 70-year-old man stuck in a 30-year-old's body.
Is he the youngest of those boys?
He's the youngest
that
of
helps,
the three of them.
because he's basically been on their maturity timeline. Like I'm 5 years younger than my
True.
brother, and people always
And
said
they
I
worked
was
together.
older, right?
Yes.
That probably makes sense. But we kept in touch for those 2 years, 16,
Yeah.
17, like random texts here and there. We went to the Met Gala together in 16 because we were both single.
Date list for the
Ish.
Met Gala.
And we were both going with Ralph Lauren, and they said, you know, we have like sort of couples, and would you like to just go together? Both single. Both of us said yes.
Was that night fun?
So much fun.
It was.
You know, the
But
one
you're going, oh,
special
he's 25,
thing.
he's 25, he's 25.
Yeah, I'm going, he's
yeah.
25 in my head.
yeah.
And the special thing that happened that night, which I think seared Nick into my memory for the next 2 years, was it was my first Met, and I come from India. So most of these people that I was seeing on the carpet were people I'd seen on television.
Of course.
I don't know any of them. They're not my friends.
Right.
I didn't know anyone, which was one of the big reasons why I was like, yeah, you're sending someone to go with me? Great. I'm going to go with this person.
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
a
yeah,
buddy.
yeah.
I need a buddy.
Yeah.
And he's got to be feeling out of sorts, even though he's hugely famous. He's 25.
Him and I have both had 22-year careers, and he's 10 years younger than me.
Right,
He started
right, right.
working at 7 in Les Mis
Oh
on
my-
Broadway.
Oh, wow.
Easy one.
Icebreaker.
So we did the carpet. We did separate pictures. We kind of awkwardly told jokes. He held my hand and stood. I had to travel in a bus because my train was so long. He stood in one corner very sweetly, helped with my dress. Didn't know him. We'd gone on one like date before because we were like, we're going to the carpet. Let's just grab a drink.
Yeah.
And he took me to the Carlisle. For anyone who
I
knows New
love
York.
the Carlisle.
Jazz bar.
Bemmelman's.
The average age was 60.
Of course. I love it there so
I
much.
love it too. The piano bar was playing. It was dark, dingy. Anyway, we go to this carpet. I was so grateful I had Nick because you're not allowed representation or anyone there. It's just you by yourself. We go into the carpet. He adjusts my dress. He's a complete gentleman. He steps aside so I get a moment. And then he met people he knew. You know, the carpet was over. We went to see the exhibition and he'd taken care of me and he kind of walked away. And I remember I was looking at an exhibition and I turned around and I was suddenly alone in this sea of magnificent dressed creatures that I'd
Yeah.
only watched on TV or magazines.
And Wintour's greeting you.
Anna Wintour.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
done, thankfully,
Yeah.
with
yeah.
Nick.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But when I got in, it was like Rihanna
What now?
and like
Yeah.
Madonna and Katy Perry and like
Intimidating.
Kim Kardashian. And I had a moment where the room spun. It was like a movie scene, and I just didn't know what my next step was. I didn't know what you're supposed to do, and I
Yeah,
didn't
go
know
sit
who
at
you're
your table early,
Where
be the
is
first one at your
table?
table.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the table was.
I went straight to the table. I felt awkward.
I was so nervous. And I just remember this moment felt like it stretched to 10 minutes, but probably was 2 minutes. And I was just standing and staring for a second. And Nick came back in my view and my eyes focused on him. And he gave me his hand and said, "Shall we?"
Oh.
And didn't leave my side that whole night.
Oh, this
I don't know
is
if you saw it.
Did you guys kiss that night?
romantic.
No.
You didn't kiss.
We didn't even kiss, which was so annoying because I took him home.
Which was so annoying.
Not the Met Gala day, but when we went to the Carlisle.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this could be
let's
happening.
kiss
each
I
other.
had a
Yeah,
couple of drinks. He wanted to have a cigar. I was like, I have a balcony. Come to my house. My mother was staying with me that day. This is at 1 o'clock in the morning. She's watching Law and Order on
Oh,
TV in,
boy.
her in her pajamas in the couch. And I opened the door. I forgot she was there.
Yeah,
I
bone
forgot
kill.
she was sleeping.
Oopsies.
And I walk in and Nick walks in and my mom jumps out of the couch and she's like, "Hi, would you like to sit?" Whatever, and bolts to her room.
Yeah.
She knows how to be a
I
wingman.
sat, not really, but I'll let me know the rest of it. I sat Nick down. I was like, I should have called her. I didn't tell her. I'm sorry. He's like, "No worries." I was like, "That's the kitchen. Just grab whatever you want." And I go to my mom's room. I was like, "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't tell you. Carlisle was 2 minutes. I was living uptown. In the conversation, I forgot to tell you." And she's talking to me while putting on a lipstick.
Oh, she's getting
She's getting dressed to come out to say hi because I brought a boy
Oh,
home.
I love it.
I never used to bring a boy home. And she's like, "Well, you should have at least told me. Should I wear a robe?" And she's fixing her lipstick.
Yeah, putting her face on.
Put her face on.
Oh.
Comes outside, says hi officially, and then goes away. And then we hung out that night. And at the end of the night, I walked him to my door. I really thought it would be a kiss. You know, we're going to the
Yes.
Met together.
Yes.
We're both kind of single-ish. And he tapped me on my shoulder and gave me a hug and left.
He was playing a long game.
Now I know that.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was very offended.
But look, it all worked out for you.
Even the
Yes,
Met
it's the
Gala
right
day, he didn't
move.
try nothing. He was
But he
just
took care of you.
took care of me all night. Was by my side. We had a
Okay.
great time.
So then when you guys go out in May of 18, the runway's been kind of
I was single for a year and a half. By now, Nick had asked me out a few times. I'd not done it. I'd been a serial, like in relationships. I kept making the same mistakes. I was with similar guys.
what were those guys?
I feel like a little bit narcissistic. And I just needed to figure out what about me evoked that.
Yeah.
Like, why did I attract
Well,
it?
Yeah. Did you
no,
figure
hold
it out?
on. We can maybe ask this. Your father and mine are both dead. Similar time. 13?
13.
Yeah, 12. Was your dad at all narcissistic?
My dad wasn't. I mean, I could say my mom kind of may have been a little bit
Right.
vain, but my dad was the gentlest, softest. Like, he's not scared of tears. He's a musician, super softy. But I mean, I feel like I was more narcissistic than my parents combined.
Right.
Or maybe I was just young. You know, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you kind of are.
Is it that you get a sense from a narcissist that there's a degree of unavailability that somehow is the challenge?
I think that they're emotionally attached but detached. So you feel like they're attached, but they suddenly detach, and then you're addicted and you need that attachment,
Yes,
and then
yes.
you start blaming yourself. Did I do something wrong? A lot of the pattern in my relationship was me feeling gaslit because I gave that kind of power to the people that I was with, where I was like, you come first. I had very strong parents, and I was raised when I was in the industry. I kind of built a tough hide. And so I always looked for someone who I could be vulnerable with, never realizing that my vulnerability gave this incredible power to my
Could be
partner
exploited
that-
in the wrong hands.
I won't say that they were wrong. I mean, I've had wonderful relationships and my exes were bad, good, ugly, but you know, they shaped who I am
Yeah.
at that time. But this last one and the year and a half that I took before I met my husband officially gave me so much clarity on what I needed, not what I wanted.
Yes.
Right. I can relate. When I was in the market to meet Kristen, I very much wanted kids. I was 32 and I don't want to have a kid with someone I haven't been with for a few years. So
Yeah.
it's like if I
You
do
wanna
the
know who
math,
your
whoever I
person's
meet
with.
now, and it's like, well, I actively have to go. Number one thing is, do I think this would be a great mother? Okay, that's going to weed out a lot, which is what it sounds like happened in your year and a half, which is like, okay, now I want to be en route. And so I want these qualities in my next partner.
Totally. The year we went out on our first date, my best friend Tamanna and her husband, I was always their third wheel for like 4 or 5 years. So he made me, her husband Sudeep, made me sit down that New Year's night and said, let's play a game or let's manifest this. what are your 5 non-negotiables? And I've made so many of my girlfriends do this. In that moment, what were my 5 non-negotiables? And for some reason, he insisted on that number.
That's a lot. I'd be kind of hard pressed.
That is a lot. And you can
5.
flip it around. You can change it. And you can say, okay, maybe I don't need someone who knows this as you grow older.
Right.
But I wrote my 5 non-negotiables, and I swear to God, you could put that in a computer and my husband would pop out.
Wow.
And this was 7 months or something before I got engaged to Nick.
What were they? Do you mind telling us?
No, of course. Honesty was a really important part of mine. I had a lot of lies in previous relationships. So I like being able to have communication. I'm a communicator. I diffuse situations. I don't live in stress. I like communicating and taking away the power and finding a solution.
Yeah.
And that requires honesty and someone who's secure.
Can I guess one?
What?
You must have been plagued with guys feeling emasculated by your power. And I have to imagine you just craved someone who actually was truly confident and could actually root for you.
Yeah. I've had exes having big fights on my biggest nights.
Yeah.
You know, like when you've won an award or, you know, you're on a massive cover or you're being honored. And that's the night that I would have puffy eyes because that's the night that it had to be picked.
Yeah.
But that kind of shit I was so sick of. And it would never be said, but there was always this like, you need to remember your place thing.
Yeah.
And my big thing was I articulated it in a way that I wanted someone I looked up to. And there's very few people I look up to that I feel awe-inspired by.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, what did Nick have that you immediately identified as a virtue or a character that you aspired to be?
He's a generous leader. He's so thoughtful. He thinks
I'm
about
falling
everyone.
in love with him now.
He really is. We should hang out because
Yeah.
I really think you guys will be friends.
We have a mutual friend too, I think. Larry Trilling,
Oh, yes, of course.
who's my favorite person I've ever worked with in
Nick
my
wrote
life.
a show, hand to computer.
That Larry said's very, very good.
Yeah. Amazon greenlit it. I'm producing it with him.
Awesome.
And we wrote it. He wrote it during the pandemic.
Larry
Amazing.
Trilling, I'm telling you, in my 20 years,
Best guy.
the most beautiful
So creative,
person you
too.
could ever work with.
He's amazing.
collaboratively. Yeah.
But that about Nick, I really admire his work ethic. I have tremendous work ethic. I really don't take my job for granted. I walk in prepared. I like to bring respect to the table. I don't even take press days for granted. And Nick is like that too. He's very, very intentional. If he's doing a job, he'll do it 100%. And what made me look up to him is something that I can't do. I think I fell in love with him the first time I saw him in a studio. He was conducting a gospel band for a Broadway show he wrote. A musical that he wrote. This
At
was
20 some years old.
25
What a dick.
at that time.
Damn it.
Stupid. It was insane. And this was after our first date, which he was very smart about, asked me to get a friend of mine because he knew I wouldn't go out. If it was alone, he had tried that a few times.
Yeah.
But he said, why don't you come by the studio tomorrow? Super casual. I was like, yeah, sure. Well, that's normal in my life. I've been in studios.
I was a pop star.
I was
once.
once
I
a
have-
famous pop star.
I have 4 singles, okay? I was with the engineers and he was in the booth with this gospel choir of 25 incredible singers. And he was telling them how to change their notes, how to go on this higher note. And he was singing it. Nick has the most incredible sound, amazing tone and control, and his falsetto, and he's very jazzy and R&B the way he sings. My knees buckled.
Yeah, I'm horny just hearing
I know,
about
this is
Yeah.
awesome.
This is such a
I s-
panty dropper move. If you can do that and you can invite
Yeah.
someone to watch you do
all
that,
of it, the
it's
whole-
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
we had a nice
powerful.
date that night.
Mom wasn't there.
Nope, it was just us that night.
That is so great. Yeah, that is sexy.
And it was a move. And you know what? He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He took over my brain in such a slow way. He started writing songs. for
Well,
me.
he knew you were smart. He wasn't going to get you just by doing the cliches.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I did like the cliches. I mean, he booked a really big yacht on Memorial Day to take me out. That was nice.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I like
always
that
nice.
too.
Then he proposed to you in Greece. That's pretty,
yeah.
that's
Like-
in the playbook. Of,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't mind the spoilers. He really is. That's what I meant, generous. He's not just
Yeah.
generous with his family, but his friends, his crew. They're always with him. He's had the same friends for years. I've had the same friends for years. You know, we're a very small.
Have any of them started
clique.
cross pollinating?
Yeah, they're
Are they
friends now.
But
Our-
are any of them dating? Like, if you you guys? Any
We
of yours-
had a problem with one of
Okay,
those.
Yeah. It's
'Cause
dangerous.
They fucked, and then they weren't friends
Yes,
anymore. We were
and then
friends.
it's
Then
a
you have
whole group
you have a
dynamic.
big Christmas
Yeah,
party.
That happened, and it was
Yeah.
awkward.
Of course, this stuff
But
happens.
not as much as I would have anticipated it.
Yes, I would have thought these
Yeah.
two groups get together and it would be a Bacchanalia.
That was close to it. Our wedding kind of felt like that.
Ooh, fun.
Are in general your friends 10 years older than his friends?
His friends are 10 years older than me.
Oh, interesting. That's
Old
a
Friends
soul.
that are
plot
like
twist.
50s, 40s. He
Also,
has
then maybe
older-
he would love me. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
so old. Yeah, I'm almost 50.
Yeah,
This
there you
could
go.
work.
Y'all would
Not
be best
so
friends.
old.
Nick's favorite thing is golfing and smoking cigars.
Okay.
and watching movies
Could he get into
and-
motorsports? Is he,
Not a fan, though I am.
Oh, okay,
I
great.
love
There we go.
You and I can chat that, and
Yeah,
then
we can do that.
Kristen and him can talk musical
There you go.
theater.
They
and
can
stuff.
talk about all the
It's wonderful,
art stuff.
Wonderful. Oh man, this is lovely, and congratulations, you have a baby girl. That's
you
so,
so much.
wonderful.
It's insane. Just seeing her personality every day, seeing her change every day. Yesterday, she started doing this new thing when she eats. Whenever she's like loving her food, she sings. She goes,
Oh,
She's discovering new foods and she eats everything. She eats like lamb
Yes.
chops and roti. And
How
like,
old is she?
She's 13 months. Korean barbecue,
Oh
like
my-
everything.
Oh,
I've taken
wow.
her. I want our palate to be highly diverse
Yes.
because we love food from all over the world. She loves pesto, like everything. And she goes, and then she takes her head back in very dramatic fashion and just lays down and goes,
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I love
This
it.
is amazing.
She's indulgent.
cute.
Yeah.
Did you know you wanted kid? Like, were you always like, I want kids?
I always knew I wanted kids, which was one of the big reasons I didn't want to date Nick at that time. Because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if he wants kids at 25 at that time, but I always wanted kids. I love kids. I've worked with kids with UNICEF for years. I've volunteered in kids' hospitals. I am like a kid whisperer. I'd rather spend more time with children than with adults. I love kids. All our parties are kid and dog friendly in our house. You can bring them anytime. Parents, dogs, and kids are always welcome.
Allowed.
Wherever
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, that's you just
that's
described
yours
our
too,
house.
yeah.
Yeah. I have so
that.
many friends that are single and they're like, "Hey, let's grab dinner." And I'm like,
So
"You
weird
just
now.
don't get it. I
Yeah.
can't go grab dinner. I'm with my kids all the time."
It's such a weird thing when you have kids. Life changes in such a big way, but thankfully we have a lot of friends with kids too. So
you got
everything
to.
becomes a party for the kids.
Yes.
And the adults just happen to be hanging around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monica just froze her eggs.
Oh, I tell everyone to do that.
Yeah, it didn't go great for me. I'm gonna do it again.
Do it
but
again.
Yeah,
Do it as many times as you need.
I know.
My mom had said this to me and I did do it for myself as well. But I tell all my younger friends, the biological clock is real.
Yeah,
It gets so much harder to get pregnant after 35 and to carry to term and all of
Exactly.
that, especially with women that have been working all our lives. But science is at such an amazing place right now where if you can afford it, I tell people you save money to buy a car every month and do it for Christmas. It's
Yes.
the best gift you'll give yourself because you're taking the power of your biological clock and you can work till however long you want.
Exactly.
Your eggs will still be the same age as when you froze them. For people who want kids,
What a great way to take that off the table to evaluate your life. That's kind of for me, if I were a woman, I'd want to just be like, okay, that's safe. Now I can really ask the question separated from the anxiety of the time clock and the pressure,
totally.
right?
And that's what it did for me.
Yeah.
I felt such a freedom. I did it in my early 30s. I could continue on an ambitious war path that
Yes.
I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to a certain place in my career. And I also hadn't met the person I wanted to have children with.
Yes,
Or I didn't
exactly.
see that. That's anxiety inducing that, okay, 35 and my
Yeah.
mom's an OBGYN who's like, who 36? Just do it.
Yeah. And then you do feel rushed at that age to then find the person. You're like,
And you
oh no,
rush
I guess
into
I
it.
just now have to find a person.
Yeah.
And that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Because then you're attached to that person for the rest of your life if you have a kid with
And
them.
especially if you have a child with them. You
Yeah.
have to know that you can handle this person for the rest of your life.
Yes,
Yeah.
in
If
some
If you're gonna
capacity.
if you're gonna have a kid with them,
Yeah, I wish I had done it earlier.
do it anytime, and if you can do it multiple times too.
Yeah.
Like,
it gets harder though.
Yeah, it does. I tell girls like save up for it, do it. Of course, it's expensive.
I think it's a thing
You
like
know.
Netflix famously offers it to their employees, which I think is great. I think everyone would benefit in that
That's
equation
the
if
next
they were.
step,
yeah.
I think, is getting that covered.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a debate for a lot of people. You know, the science element of procreation.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We did a whole
I
podcast
don't
on
really
this.
That one I want to listen
We
to.
did 10 episodes and it was and
It's called Race to 35.
it's called Race to
Ding, ding, ding.
35. And yes, like there's so many thoughts out there about like
Yeah.
is it, and only getting more and more with all the Rose stuff of like, well, is it a baby and how early is it? And are they babies even when they're just eggs in your body? You know, some people are concerned.
People have contrarian beliefs. But from my end, as someone who comes from a family of science, I love science. I love the evolution of science, of technology. I think human beings are fucking amazing that we can build this stuff
It's
Oh my God,
impossible.
yeah.
create this stuff.
It's incredible.
Well, Priyanka, this has been an absolute blast. I've really enjoyed getting to meet you, and Citadel is awesome. It's such a big, huge, epic show, and it comes out on April 28th on Amazon Prime, and then new episodes weekly. You're also in a movie that'll be out this year called Love Again, so check that out.
It comes out May 12th. It's Celine Dion's acting debut, by the way.
Ooh.
She took her time.
She did. She's so funny in the movie. It's Sam Heughan, Celine Dion, and me. It's a sweet rom-com. She's a really funny person. I was shocked that she hadn't done more acting before. And we get original music from her in this movie, which we haven't had for a long time.
Yes.
And she's had health issues for a little while, so I'm just really excited to see her, you know. We haven't
Yes.
seen her for a bit. I wish her so much love and luck.
So check out Citadel on April 28th on Amazon Prime, and then check out Love Again, and good luck with everything. It's been a blast meeting you. This is so fun.
fun.
You dressed down, I dressed up. Next time we'll get it right.
That was so funny. I like literally had a conversation with my publicist Dana, and I was like, I'm just gonna wear jeans and a shirt.
You still look very, you look
And I,
very
was, and I
fashionable.
still wore a shirt though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to wear my sweats, but then I was like, that might be too comfortable.
I'm in sweats half the time.
And I'm like, I'm going to take my biggest swing yet.
There you go.
All right. Adore everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman.
Oh, you look really tall.
So tall.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Your feet barely touch.
It was made just for me.
It was?
Papa Bear. No, but
Oh.
everything's too small for me. And this one's actually where my feet are just. What does a normal person do in this chair?
I should sit in it and see what happens. I get sucked into
Well,
the
you will be
cushion.
sitting in it during Flightless, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be. You're going to have to get a little stool to climb up in it.
Yeah, we got to tell people what's happening.
Okay. So the original Lazy Boy, tried and true, trusted
Got
brand.
us really far.
Yeah, it's leather, which I like because it's nearly indestructible and
Yeah.
you can spill things on it. But I sweat so bad in it.
You get really self-conscious because of your sweat.
My back in particular
Yeah.
gets very damp.
Yeah.
By the time we have to go take pictures with the guest,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I got to go fucking change my shirt. This is humiliating. Thank God Dave Letterman didn't. He kept his hands in his pants,
He
in his
did.
pockets.
He
Not his
did.
pants. I don't want to paint a wrong picture.
You did. And you had me wipe down your back.
Which did nothing,
Yeah,
right? As
it
we
didn't.
recall. Yeah. Yeah, I went right through that little velvet jumper I was in.
you did. Okay, so
So at any rate, about 6 weeks ago, I ordered a new Lazy Boy, and there's so many fabrics to pick from. And I went with a uniquely grandpa-y.
grandma-y.
Grandma-y.
I would say grandma too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, grandma. Yeah, I don't know why I was acting like it was grandpa-y. It's the grandma's. Blue, beautiful blue.
It's a blue.
Are my eyes popping?
they're yeah. I mean, I see them.
Flower print, worn. Like it comes looking worn,
Yeah.
right? With some history. You hate it. I love the look on your face. You hate it. Oh, I love it.
You love it.
Hold on.
Oh. You don't look comfortable. honestly,
It's
you
good- well,
don't look comfortable.
hold
I'm
on a
just gonna be
second.
honest.
I feel comfortable.
You do?
Also, mostly comfortable. It takes a minute. It comes, it's a little, it's like a new leather coat, and I'm up a little high, but that's going to,
Your feet are not touching the ground. I've
I
never
know.
seen this in my whole life,
What kind
and
of-
I'm disturbed.
what kind of, do I look like a little boy?
Yeah.
Ooh. What do grandmas do in this chair? Their feet have to be right here, right? We'll see when
Isn't
you get
it
in.
for? I think mainly a lot of people recline.
This is more of a napping chair.
Yes.
It's also so wide. We could easily both sit in this
Yeah.
chair. This is incredible.
It makes the other chair look small, which is bizarre.
It really does.
The other chair's still here. It's currently in my spot, which I might test it out.
Yeah. I put it there to see if you wanted to try that or
Yeah.
not.
Sometimes I feel motion sickness in that chair.
Yeah.
But-
It's also pretty crazy intimidating for the guests that both of us are in these. Like from where you're sitting, imagine you're there and I'm here. Does that seem preposterous to you?
You both indifferent.
I'm not going to diminish myself if I want to sit in that chair.
No, I'm not asking that. I'm asking, does it look intimidating from the eyes of the
I don't
guests, which
know.
is you're sitting in where the guests would normally sit.
Yeah. Well, you don't look intimidating.
Okay,
You
great. I look silly, right?
Like a grandma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your feet don't touch. All of it.
I like it a little Afghan to drape over my knees.
Should
I'm
wear
gonna get
that
a
blanket.
Attic cat, a cat that just is in the attic.
No. I'm not letting you bring a stupid
And then
cat in here.
I'll sit here with my
Ew.
blanket and my purring cat, and
You've
I'll pet
ruined
it.
the show. You ruined it.
Well, anyways, I guarantee I'm not going to have any sweating issues going forward.
I would not say that yet.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
I
speak
hope
too
that's the
soon.
case. I got a hunch. I haven't really got under the hood of this thing.
Yeah.
But I have to believe that the platform this is on, the
Mm-hmm.
two rails it sits on, there's got to be some adjustment.
To bring it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
I just don't know enough to know.
I'll tell you, though, it feels good in here. Feels good.
I wonder if you'll feel motion sick because maybe the reason I do is because my feet aren't on the ground.
That makes a lot of sense because I was rocking way more. I'm never rocking unless I choose to rock.
Exactly.
But you're right. I'm kind of just feeling the vibrations of Mother Earth.
Yeah.
It'll be good if you're both rocking at an interview.
Synchronized
Synchronized rocking.
Hypnotize the guest.
Ooh. All right. Well, what's TBD on what's going to happen here?
What do you think of the print, though? You absolutely hate it. You don't think it's charming that this is my pick?
Of course, you're very charming.
Well, no, I mean,
You are.
like-
It's very cute that you picked this.
yeah, it's like counter to
But
the.
do I like it? No, I would never pick it.
Well, let's go strand by strand.
Okay.
Do you like this color blue?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, great. I agree. I mean, it's a really pretty blue.
You're
Go ahead.
not going to like this. It looks cheap.
It looks cheap. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
That blue is not
It's
an
not a
expensive
Pantone
blue.
It's not a Pantone blue?
No.
Okay.
But you're not an expensive guy.
I got a hunch, though.
I need to get a chair from the row in here. That's what I need.
Listen, I accept your analysis.
Okay. It's all opinion.
I know, but I really do think I have a hunch that if you saw this chair, you knew nothing about it, and it was sitting in one of
Nikki
these
Kehoe?
houses that's decorated kind of Elizabethan but modern, where you're not, it's not gross. You know what I'm saying? Like really traditional.
Victorian, but-
And this was sitting in the corner. I think you might feel differently about it. Which, mind you, this is not the vibe of this room. So, of course, here it sticks out like a turd in a punch bowl.
Yeah. We have different aesthetics. That's just that, and that's okay. Remember,
we
we
have
learned that about Susan and Ivy.
Right, but
They
I
taught
think
us that.
you and I actually have a similar aesthetic.
Oh, you think?
This chair aside,
Okay. Well,
I think we agree on like what
but
what
you
hotel lobby looks
Oh.
nice, what restaurant
Yes.
lobby looks nice. You know,
That's true.
we agree.
We do agree a lot. Although you say that you disagree with Kristen, but her and I are really on a same page.
I don't disagree with Kristen.
You said that in Susan and Ivy. You said that sometimes you guys will argue about aesthetics and her opinion is just right, default.
That's true, but let me be clear. She has a feminine aesthetic. She wants everything white and light colors. And I have a more, I want a wood paneled office library with like rich, dark everything.
Except you chose a blue chair with lots of flowers and fabric.
I'm coming over to y'all's side, but I guess I moved further away at the same time.
It's hard to hit the bullseye,
He went real far on that other
For
side.
me, this is a major bullseye. I think
know
it's
what?
disarming.
You should
There's
have
a
done a
lot of thought
stripe.
that went into this. It's also intentionally disarming. I look like a clown in it, right?
Yeah.
It's a bozo-y looking, like, why is that
It's
history?
distracting.
It's distracting.
I'm a little nervous that it's distracting.
Okay. You have an actual look of deep anxiety.
I am nervous. You know what? If you love it, I love it.
Yeah, it's soft. It's so big. It's rare that I feel like a teeny tiny.
Yeah.
How
That's
tiny
kinda
do I
fun.
look in this thing?
You look small.
Yeah, I
You
feel
look
small.
really skinny,
Yeah, I'm skinny and tiny and frail and vulnerable and weak.
like a grandma.
Yeah, all you'd have to say is, you wouldn't even have to say, give me your money. You just say like, I kind of wish I had the money in your pocket. And I'd be like, okay, sir.
Wait, we should do a drill where like someone starts to break in, see how fast you can get out and help. Or someone has a medical emergency, see how fast you can get
Okay,
up out of
you
the
think I might be
hindered.
Yeah. Okay,
Goofy now.
Yeah, what if you get clumsy? And
Well, probably the assailant would start laughing watching me try to climb down out of this chair.
Yeah.
But it just crossed my mind while you were chatting that the dudes who dropped it off had come from like Riverside or something. In fact, I could see on my tracking thing that I was the 13th delivery for these dudes, right? So they had been moving around the city. And when they pulled up, I think naturally the dude was curious why this like tattooed up guy had a nice house.
oh, okay.
Right? So this didn't occur to me till just now.
Okay.
We come up into the attic. They deliver it to the attic. And he's like, he saw my 454 SS pickup truck. He's like, oh, it's a good looking Chevy, man. I'm like, oh, thanks. And he's like, yeah, and that sandrail's really cool. And I said, yeah, it's really all I care about is motorsports. It's the only reason I work and make money. And then he goes, yeah,
What
I
do you
swear to
do?
God, he goes, yeah, how did you make all this money?
Yeah.
Just hit me right.
Fair question.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I said, this room, this podcast.
Yeah.
And he goes, what's it called? And I go, Armchair Expert. And he goes, what's it about? And it now is just occurring to me that he was dropping off an armchair. And we
Exactly.
moved a different armchair out of the way to put this one in here. And then he learned my podcast is called Armchair Expert. He must think it's literally about armchairs.
armchairs.
And he must be wondering, how could there be that
Well, guess
much
what?
interest?
It's turning into that. That's this whole episode is about that.
But it's our first one.
yeah.
It's our actual first, and we're proving to not be experts, which is clear. But I was just thinking about how literal he must have taken that,
Yeah.
having zero
It's
context.
like, wow, that's
he
a
said-
very niche.
And then he said, I should start one. I said, you should.
He's like, I know way more about armchairs than this guy.
yeah.
Yes.
He's
this
like,
guy's.
fuck, this guy.
This guy's got a sweet 90s OBS Chevy with a fucking LT4 in it. I'm the actual expert on this. This is
On
my
armchairs.
13th delivery today.
my
Anyways,
God.
that just crossed my
Also,
mind.
there's a candle that I wouldn't have chosen.
I have nothing to do with that.
That was my candle.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have
Oh,
chosen
God,
that.
she's lining us up. Now you're getting blasted. What's wrong with the candle?
No, it's pretty, but I don't love the smell.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say it.
I mean,
looked
it's
cheap.
fine,
Does it
but
look
there's too
cheap?
much jasmine. I'm not interested in
It
jasmine.
matches the chair.
Does it look
vibe of it.
There's 3, so I could smell some of the others. Maybe I'll like some of the others.
Were those sent to us?
No, I just got them.
Oh.
Oh, because we need more good smells.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Wabi. It does pair nicely with some of the flowers are the same color as this palette. Oh, man. You are fucked up over this. This is hysterical.
You know what I don't like?
Tell me.
That seam. It looks like a butt crack
Okay, yeah. Well, one thing that's
and a vagina
one
crack.
of the things that is unattractive about this is the amount of like pleating and
Seams.
stuff.
Yeah, why?
Well, you need that for maximum comfort, though.
You do?
Yeah, and look, I gotta go function over fashion.
No,
yeah, I sit in this chair like 4 hours a day.
Well, you went both, and then that was a problem.
Think how bad it would have looked in just one color. It would have looked so
Maybe.
big and monolithic. I should show you the other swabs I was going between to
Speaking
see
of
if you would have
swabs.
liked any of more of the swabs. Okay, swabbing.
My pap smear went great.
Oh my God, great!
I
So we
think-
got the results.
No,
but they
but-
didn't tell you.
She just said things look good.
She didn't scream. When
Yeah. She's to the visual eye, nothing was popping out.
Oh, okay.
And
that's
she
preferred.
also does a part with her fingers.
Oh,
So that part went well.
okay. She didn't feel any
Except
fissures.
This is
or
the doctor with the
foreign objects.
mustache.
no, I want to be clear because we made that joke
Mm-hmm.
and that was a joke. I have a female doctor.
She could have had a mustache, though. I don't want to paint her into a corner. I don't know. This is probably not okay to say. But did I tell you about the person that Nate and I saw when we were hiking?
No.
Because it didn't occur to me. It should have occurred to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In an age where people are non-binary, I guess I thought that meant either you just didn't identify with either or.
Right.
The stereotypical either or of
Gender.
masculine, feminine, female, male.
Yes.
But I think I stupidly always assumed it was one gender who really identified with the other gender and was
Trans. That would be
exploring that.
trans.
Trans, yeah.
Yeah.
But Nate and I were hiking and a person was coming at us with large breasts,
Okay.
really long hair,
Okay.
styled pretty, feminine.
Like curled or something.
Yeah, like wavy and like layered.
Okay.
Not like when a dude grows his hair out and it's a big fucking sheet of hair.
Yeah.
And then a full beard.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess that should have been obvious to me that like non-binary might mean to someone like, I'm none of these things. I want tits, beautiful long hair, and a big full beard.
Right. How
Ooh,
old
pitter
was...
patter.
Oh, Foley.
Yeah, pitter
Real
patter.
life Foley.
Yeah.
Not Foley.
This is the
it's
nice
real
kind of
life.
rain where it's pitter patter and not freaking you out that there's going to be a flash flood. Anyways,
How old did this person look?
35.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
So your gynecologist.
She still could have because she was wearing a mask. So
Oh,
I
you don't even know.
I don't know.
Oh, she wore a mask the whole time.
yeah.
Do you think, okay.
No, doctors are wearing masks still.
I was just at a doctor who didn't wear a mask.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Everyone at Cedars was wearing one.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Okay. But I was just at one and none, like the nurses weren't, no one was wearing. This begs the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a gynecologist is maybe like, I'm going to run the mask forever and just say it's COVID?
They should.
See, I need
They
you to I need you
should.
to say that. I can't say that, but I'm thinking out loud that maybe that would be great. And then they have in their mask, they just have like a Jolly Rancher taped in there or something that keeps everything really nice and fresh smelling. What? Aren't we talking about the same thing?
Yes,
Okay.
but all of a sudden it got gross.
No, Jolly Rancher make things cute. I specifically chose Jolly Rancher because it's disarming, like my big grandma chair.
I know. I just started thinking like,
Okay, how about she has a piece of big red gum?
no,
A stick of it wrapped around her both nostrils, and then she pinches the mask around the big red
the
slice
problem
of gum.
isn't with the candy you're choosing. Okay,
Okay.
it's just reminding me of why she would need that.
Right.
And ew.
Well, we got to be honest. A lot of people are going for their checkup. Time for your checkup. Time for your checkup.
Doc McStuffins.
Dr. McStuffins. You're just going in for your once every 3 year pap smear, which is what you were doing. Your tridecadial.
That's listen.
Tridecadial
I
pap
don't
smear.
make the rules in America of the insurance. I would love to get one every 4 months.
Yes, I know you would. But the point is, you went in for your time for your checkup.
Yes.
Many people that visit her are dealing with a real problem that needs some exploration.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on
Same.
down there. Right.
This
I would
is
just say of all
helpful.
the doctors that might end up rocking the mask longer, it's going to be proctologists and OBGYNs.
Yeah. I agree with you.
And dentist.
Dentists. Great point,
They
Rob.
always, I
Yeah,
feel
mine
like
too,
forever
still.
they've done it.
But you know-
even before COVID.
Yeah, that's
Here's-
true.
And that's why. I'm
Here's my beef with dentists, though.
Uh-oh. Okay.
The gynecologists could have just eaten a bowl of turkey chili. We would never know or care. Because your vagina doesn't have gustatory powers. It can't smell.
Yeah.
So you don't know. The proctologist could have just had bratwurst. You don't know. Your dentist, they're fucking 6 inches from your nose. I have had terrible experiences.
You have?
I have. And it makes me really angry. Like if there's any profession where like ethically, legally,
Yes.
Hammurabi's Code,
Yeah.
no, Occam's razor, what do they take? Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah.
They should have to have perfect breath.
I agree.
So I want them to wear a mask
And
with one
the
of
Jolly
those
Rancher.
fart
pillows.
filters that you can put in your undergarments. We saw them advertised once we were talking about the fart pillow. People sent them to us.
Okay.
Wearing a charcoal filter over the mask, and then yes, you have to be eating a Jolly Rancher
Yeah.
the whole time you're servicing
Yeah.
someone's teeth. So they need to wear a
Although
mask for
that's
us.
counterintuitive for
I
dentists.
know they'd have to get a sugar-free option.
Yeah.
They exist.
Listen,
Okay.
I have never experienced that.
You haven't?
No, that's because my
Oh.
dentist is so good and the practice is so good. They're very high end.
Yeah, but look at it this way.
Dentistry.
You look at it this way. Choosing an occupation doesn't change your biology. If you're someone who's predisposed for simple chronic halitosis,
No.
yes,
You can't be a dentist and have that.
I would say you're right, but it's like having a blind surgeon. You can't be blind
you
and be a surgeon.
can't.
There's other things you can do.
You're not going to have enough. I'm sorry, but like, you're not going to have clientele. They're not going to trust
no,
you.
listen, I lived in a small town. There was a dentist.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't
He
have
had
options.
hypochondriatosis.
He had hypochondrial DNA ptosis.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
No, wait, really? He had
Simple chronic
halitosis? He
halitosis.
did have it?
Intermittently. I don't know if we would call it simple chronic, but I also had an orthodontist that had rough.
No.
Yes, I've had many. And then
Do you think it's because the water in Michigan? I'm serious.
it was well water.
Yeah.
And then too much iron or
Ew.
phosphorus or
Oh my God.
sulfates. You know what would get in your water well? If you grew up on a well, every kid who grew up on a well experienced this. There can be a period of time where the water level sitting where a big deposit of sulfur is.
Oh.
And you turn on your fucking shower in the morning with the hot water and it smells like eggs are coming out. Have you ever smelt that at someone's house with a well?
No.
Oh, is it brutal? And it can last like a while as it goes through that deposit of sulfur. Yeah. I remember Aaron, they hit I mean, there's a lot going on in Aaron's, but his was so bad you couldn't. He was
Brush
taking
your
a shower one morning
No.
and threw up in the shower before junior high
God.
because it was so hot eggs that he started
Who can
gagging.
live like
I know.
this?
I think we went through a lot out there in the country.
God.
Not to mention, then you come to find out that there was all kinds of contaminants soaking into the water
That's-
table from the unnamed, although I've said it in the past, unnamed developmental facility that was a mile from my house.
Well, this is what I was talking about. I was mainly talking about Flint.
Oh, sure, Flint.
Lead.
Yeah, that one's is different, but yes.
Michigan.
They're not known for that. Well, this is ironic. They're known for our fresh water, and yet it turns out it's not always so fresh.
You're famous for your water and infamous for it.
Another thing that happened, I had my buddy Dean, his first house he owned, all of a sudden was knocking at his door from the EPA, wanted to test his water. Like 2 miles up the road, there was this big depot of road salt where they kept all the road salt to spread out on the road.
Oh, for snow.
No one had realized that was all leaching into the water table. And then there's something poisonous that
Oh my
can
God.
stem from that.
Oh my God.
I know. That's why we're
lucky to have
a
ya.
tough, rugged group.
That's why you
us
have
Michiganders.
Alzheimer's. I mean,
Well, hold on.
arthritis.
Arthritis. Literally could be
I
part of
know.
it. Yeah.
Oy, oy,
Or the
oy.
overactive arousal center.
What do you mean?
that has someone with lots of ACE scores
Oh.
in a heightened state of fight or flight quite often.
Yeah.
And what that does to your immune system.
Yeah,
So
of
when you're
course.
stressed, it turbocharges your
I
immune
thought you
system.
meant sexually.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah,
I know arousal. It's one of these. It's like
confusing.
eroticism.
it is. I thought you were talking about sexually, but then I was going to counter, except then Aaron had that boner problem, so we can't say.
But he was so horny, even though he was having.
Oh, wow.
I just need to say for everyone, like his dick is hard as a rock now.
Okay.
No, we need to say if we were saying he was
All
having
right.
problems,
My
we need to
God,
say
men.
that
Ugh.
he's getting hard as an anvil now.
Thanks to Dr. K.
No, thanks to his I think his weight loss.
No, but also Dr. K. That was when it all happened.
That was that was temporary relief.
that temporary from like years.
Yeah. He
fixed
the positive effects went away. Probably if he would have continued treatment, maybe not.
Right.
But that was 2-3 years ago. But post his most recent weight loss, he told me can't keep it down.
Oh,
It's always at attention.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm switching gears.
Okay, as you should.
I'm actually coming back around to aesthetics.
Really quick before we move on. We're almost done.
Okay.
Do you think a urologist should wear the face mask?
I don't know enough about urologists,
Well, they're handling penises all day.
but like in what context?
Jerking, tugging, squeezing.
They are?
Yeah, they're examining.
Then yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Pits, tits, and slits. PTSD.
Yeah.
If you work on any of those parts.
Wear a mask
Wear a
for
mask.
yourself. I would not be offended. I'll say that.
Right.
Although
What if you're going to, I'll just put on a gas mask before they went up into it. You'd be offended, right? Of a gas
course.
mask?
Or after being down there for like a minute or two, he
Just-
goes
then
and
she
grabs
pulls
him.
it on. Yeah, that would be a problem. That would be a problem. I guess I'd be happiest if she had a mask and was like, "Oh, I don't need this," and then
Oh, right. That
took
would be
it
the
off,
dream.
threw it off.
Sniffing the air.
Oh, actually, I don't need this for you.
And then she dabbed her wrists on your pachydermis and then dabbed her neck. That would be the ultimate compliment.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, switch gears.
Switching gears. Sort of. This shirt. Do you like the shirt I'm wearing? Speaking of aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay, so not really.
No, it's just you I totally do. You set the bar really high for yourself is what it is. You have so many exciting sweaters.
Thank you.
Even the one I was posting today for Letterman, and that red one is so beautiful.
That is an old get. That's Victoria Beckham.
VB.
Yeah, it's great brand.
So it's totally a nice top,
Mm-hmm.
but you've set the bar insanely high.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is a very nice top.
Okay.
It's casual, so I think that's maybe why it doesn't look fancy.
The more I really hone in on it, it is pretty great.
It's guess who has it?
What? Tell me.
Guess
who has it?
Yeah, like I saw it on somebody. And that's what made me buy
Jenna
it.
Ortega.
Matt Damon.
No. No. Who do I want to be so bad?
Olsen.
Good guess, but no. It's not the row.
It's not the row, and nor
The
was.
row- this
But
is
Ashley could have been wearing something that wasn't the row.
She could have, but their style is very the row. It's very muted.
Okay.
Like color wise. There's not as much, well, they have some, but this is more colorful.
Yeah, big time. Like it pairs well with my
Don't
new.
say that.
my
That's
new
so
recliner.
offensive.
Right? Yeah.
That is so offensive.
Who was wearing it?
Mindy.
Rihanna.
Riri.
Rihanna has this sweater.
Oh, wonderful.
And she wears it with her belly out because she's pregnant.
And proud of it.
So she wears it above the belly.
Oh, cool.
I can't do that because I'm not pregnant. But I saw it in Vogue. She was wearing it.
And then you
I
promptly
was like-
ordered it?
First of all, I was like, oh, what's that sweater? I love that sweater. Oh, I love her belly. Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
And then it was also on Hailey Bieber, another
Fashion icon.
very fashionable person. And I bought it.
Okay, great.
And now I'm wearing it.
How much was it? 500?
It was more than that.
How much
This
was
is, okay, it's Loewe, which is a
Brand of
high fashion brand.
what? Okay.
I'm not going to say how much it was.
Well, no, you just cut it.
No, but I don't want to tell you.
I want to know. Why? I tell you everything. I bet it's the same price as this recliner.
Probably.
Maybe more.
It might be more.
1,400.
No.
Oh.
Less than 1,000.
Then great. I don't know why you're embarrassed.
I'm
it
not
800?
embarrassed. I just feel like
852?
you not judge me. Not judge me. That's not the right word.
I bought an engine and transmission yesterday.
I know, but I think you're very protective of me and my finances, like my dad.
Yeah, well, I am your West Coast dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel that from you, and I
WCD.
actually appreciate it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not worried.
okay, listen, I'm going to cut this, but I want to tell you because it's exciting.
Yeah.
I was invited to something cool.
Why are you going to cut this?
Okay, I'm not going to cut it.
Okay, great. What did you get invited to?
I got invited to the premiere of Air.
Oh, wow.
Ben and Matt's new movie.
Oh, my God. Are you going to go?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
Play
well,
hard to get.
I don't know.
No, I have to go, and not for the fact that they're my boyfriends, but when the email came in,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, how cool!" Yes, and I sent, and then it like hit me
Yeah.
that
You used to stand.
yeah,
Yes.
and not. And,
But,
okay,
well, I could see this going either way.
okay.
How do I mount this?
Just like you mounted your chair.
Feet
Same
a dangling.
way.
Yeah. Feet akimbo. I could see where maybe my ego would be like, I'm a peer now.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan going to the movie.
right, but it's not like the movie theater. I'm invited to the premiere.
Yeah.
It's not like, do you want to go to Regal on Friday and
Right.
see a screen? It's not a screening.
Right. It's
It's
the
the
actual
premiere.
premiere. Yeah.
No, I just thought about the girl who watched Good Will Hunting.
Who thought they were going to be at the campground?
Yeah. That girl is so happy to
Glow.
be invited to a premiere of a movie they made.
Yes. It is incredible.
Really exciting.
And I'm glad that is your takeaway. And
like I could have been like, I wish I should have been in the movie or something.
well, just like,
I didn't feel like it was placating, if that's what you meant.
no, it'd just be like, I imagine myself being there and then seeing them, and I'm not sure how I would feel.
Right.
That's what I'm.
Well, I'm sure I will have some feelings there.
Yeah.
Like,
So what do we think? So you're in the lobby,
yeah.
and then you're waiting to get a popcorn, and then they step up behind you, and they press their bodies against yours and push you against the popcorn,
Oh my God.
whatever we call that, the popcorn box.
I can't wait. Oh, I really can't wait.
And then you turn around, they're both wearing masks.
And I say, you can take them off. I already went to the gyno and everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's
You
great.
will not need those. You can get rid of your Jolly Ranchers. But save them for later after your popcorn. You're going to want something sweet.
No, I mean, I doubt I'll even make.
See,
I might see them from afar, but I
Right.
don't think we're going to be in close contact.
Right.
And if we
Have
are,
you have or haven't seen Ben in real life?
never seen it.
Okay, so I hope you see him in real life.
Me too.
Because
'Cause
he's
he's big.
much bigger than you're expecting.
How do you think he'd do in this chair? He'd be like you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be an inch taller than me.
But still, this chair.
I could take him if that's what you're asking.
Definitely not what I was asking. Please
Okay.
don't take it like that.
I could take him, but
Oh my God. I'm
Internet
going to get a.
Internet says he's only 6'2" and a fourth.
that's not true. I don't think that's true.
Would celebheights.com lie about that?
What does it say about Dax?
Read Celeb Height's list of top 10 smartest animals. Let's see if we agree.
Wait, look up Dax's height on this. Then we'll have a. Then we'll know. And
If it says I'm
Kristen.
6'1", then I agree.
6'2" and a half.
Oh, that's
Okay,
right.
That is right. I'm not taller than him, I don't think. Or maybe his star power affects me when I'm around him and he seems taller than he is. But I don't think that's it. He's a big boy. He's
Yeah.
a big motherfucker. I could totally take him though. So don't even let that mislead you into thinking he had some upper hand.
Okay.
Because 10,000 hours. Okay.
Well, sheknows.com says he's 6'4".
There we go. She
6'4".
knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
She does know.
She does knows. Yeah.
What does it say about Kristen? I like this. We need sample size.
Yeah. On She Knows or Celebrity Fitness? What was it? CelebrityHeights.com?
She knows might only be men though.
Okay.
5'1".
That's right.
That's right. All right.
Okay.
And before that, I have a busy
Whoa, calendar?
life. Yeah, busy Cal. This Friday, I'm going to a way more important premiere.
You are?
Yes.
Which one?
Prom Pact.
Because your friend Anthony.
Disney Plus has a movie called Prom Pact that my Anthony
Yes.
wrote.
Uh-huh.
And my Rachel produced.
Oh, guys. Dream team.
I can't.
The good guys are winning.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Is that on the website?
A little bit.
Ooh, where's it at?
It's on, like Wilshire and
Ooh.
like Pico.
Ooh.
I know. I know.
Oh,
but
boy.
I'm so excited to see his name up there, to see Rachel's name up there.
Really quick, I don't think people that don't live in LA
Understand the West Side situation.
They can't really understand it. I guess if you live in New York, there's definitely, some borough. If you live in one borough and it's things in Coney Island, like forget that. But I will say, like, it's nearly equivalent to, like, if you live in Detroit, going to Toledo. You can go to Toledo, Ohio, often quicker than I can go to Santa Monica. And just imagine you're like, hey, you're invited to this movie. It's in Toledo. Fuck no. Who's going to be there? Ben and Matt. Oh, shit. Well, they promise they're going to push my body up against that hot popcorn machine. Hear that pop, 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 pop.
Oh, God. Okay.
And you'll forever associate that pop, 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 with that elation and
wow.
apex arousal in the conventional sense that you guys first thought of it, arousal.
Sure. Yeah.
And arousal. And then every time you're in a movie theater and you hear pop, 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 you'll be like, quiver, quiver, pew, 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 pew. Kick their feet out.
Oh,
wow. I don't remember checking a box, but this is like,
You got an extra wide.
I got an extra wide. It's insane. That's insane. Okay.
Well, that's the grandma vibe is going to give it
Oh,
wheelchair
maybe.
vibe.
Convalescent vibe.
It's just the transition from that to wheelchair.
I'm probably going to die in this chair.
No, don't say that.
No, when I'm convalescing, this is the chair I want.
Stop. You've doubled down. You've been in it for like 30 minutes and now you want to die in it.
It's not that I want to. It's just that I'm going to.
You'll never be able to get up out of it. That's for
also,
sure.
like, clearly, this is the chair you convalesce in. I'll have my programs, my remote control, my little TV dinner tray.
It does look like the one my grandpa has right now.
Yeah, I bet he's so comfortable.
I hope so.
Well, that answers my question. How's he doing? Now I know. Perfect.
He's doing great. Anywho. Okay, I mean, that's sort of a ding, ding, ding because my grandpa's Indian and this is for Priyanka. And we thought maybe for a second that my grandma knew her grandma, but they don't.
I loved meeting her.
Me too.
I don't know anything about anybody. And when I get snippets, like I hear there's a famous Bollywood star, married to a Jonas brother. I just deduce a bunch of things that I know nothing about. I don't know one thing. I just imagine she's fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I figure like, oh, she must be fancy. And I don't know.
I could see that.
I don't even know but then I meet her, I'm like, this gal's down as fuck.
Yeah, she was really cool.
The thing like that made the most sense is when she was saying she was in New York being dressing like a fly girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's who this person that I'm talking to is. Like before I would use India or Bollywood or actor, I'm like, this girl's a fly girl.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's really true and right.
And I like it.
Me too. I liked her a lot. A long time ago, I read an article with her and I made all these assumptions about her.
Oh, great. What were yours?
I mean, I'm just being honest. They were negative, but that's all my shit. It's all me.
Yeah.
And my stupid issues. And so I was so happy that she was here and I was like, she's so awesome.
I got it. So one pet peeve soapbox I have is the written interview.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what point of view the writer has.
And
they
tone.
have one.
Yeah.
Like to fool yourself and think that the writer of the article doesn't have an opinion before they come in or that, who knows?
Yeah.
But it's going through someone else's filter.
Yeah.
Even the questions they ask are reflective of their interests and personality.
Totally.
So it's like that interviewer may only broach topics that the subject either does no opinions about, no feelings, and is just kind of forced to free. I don't know. I will say that's why I far prefer like getting to know people, not even on this show, just long form podcasts. Their truth is going to come through.
Yeah.
It can't really be fucked with too much.
Well, it's still that the interviewer will ask what the interviewer wants to ask, but it's tone. You can hear.
And they're free to kind of answer and pontificate on whatever topic that made them think of. And then there's no editorial process in the sense that I'm going to cut off everything that didn't pertain to my question when I print out what they said.
Well, it could, depending
It
on what
could.
your
Yeah,
what your show is. Yeah, it is so much different. And so also, yeah, seeing her
Like
and meeting her, she's pretty cheeky and fun and playful. And I wonder if that didn't translate to what I was reading. And also, again,
But I read
she
that
was
one-
probably perfect, and I just didn't. Yeah. Anywho, so okay, definition of weird. Suggesting something supernatural or uncanny. Example, the weird crying of a seal. Okay, Jen Salke. The mystery behind Jen Salke. What is her past?
Right.
Former NBC Entertainment president.
When I was doing Parenthood, I think.
Probably,
Yeah,
which makes
that's
me
why I
wonder.
knew. That's why I knew that name.
And also,
Actually, Bob something was at the
Eisner?
time, but I think she replaced him.
okay.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, she was named head of streaming for Amazon. But
I think Kristen knows her well. I think she was the president when Good Place started.
Oh, okay.
I think I hear the name from Kristen as well a bunch.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I wondered then if he was afraid to say it because maybe you were supposed to know. Like maybe he was trying to protect you actually.
Well, now that that's been pointed out to me and I'm going, oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm totally embarrassed by the interview that I didn't put that together then. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I will say Parenthood, there was so little network interference. A lot of times you're on shows where you do a table read every week and you do it in front of the executives and you get to know them while they're there. We did not do table reads. We never did that.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, it was so nice. We never ever had a table read. So we never, like, once a year, the executives would come through because they were going to show Bob, the president, what they had cracking. But that was it. You know?
That's nice.
For 6 years, I probably saw the executives come through 6 times.
Okay, so we didn't stop for this, which I'm glad, but we have to say it now. She said maths.
Yes. And I was proud of us that we didn't.
We didn't stop. We didn't make a meal out of it. But anyone who listens to Flightless Bird definitely heard that.
Yeah.
And probably laughed.
Yeah.
It's just us.
It's just us, which is crazy. Well, and Canadians. Our
Yeah.
friendly neighbors to the north.
Yeah. Although I wonder about British. They probably do, because that's probably where it comes from in India. And New Zealand also
And
colonized.
Australia.
Yeah.
I'd be curious if in Latin-speaking countries, Italy, Spain,
Yeah.
if they pluralize math. Great question to put out to the commentators.
Tell us.
Tell us if, well, I guess we could ask Anna as well. Quite
Oh,
easily.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me call her.
Yeah, give her a ring.
But she's assimilated.
No, it's her first language. For Christ's
Still.
sake.
But she's not going to say it in Spanish. It'll be English.
Well, Spanish still has plurals or singulars.
Hello?
Hi, you're on air.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
We have a question. It's going to be hard to ask. Okay.
Oh, my.
How do you say the subject in school that has numbers?
Matematica?
Oh, Mathematica.
Can you shorten it?
What would you shorten it?
If you were to say I was bad at blank in Spanish, what would you say?
Soy mala en matemática. Yeah, we don't have a math, like short like that, no. Well, at least not in Venezuela.
So it's singular, though. It's not plural.
Matemática. Yeah.
Right. If it were
Yeah.
plural, what would it be? Mathematicas?
Matemáticas. You just add an S at the end.
Yeah, mathematicas.
Okay.
Mathematicas.
But we say mathematics. So that's not the same.
But most importantly, you would never say math, right?
No.
well, then this isn't a good.
But it is. She didn't say mathematicas. She said mathematica.
But we say mathematics.
We never say mathematics. We say math or maths.
Am I?
But if you were to say the long version, you'd say
it would have a
mathematics.
plural.
Yeah, I don't want to get in a fight with you. But when's the last time you heard someone say, I was really good at mathematics?
No, but I'm all to say the shortened version of across the board. They don't even have it, so we can't use. We have to throw out this data on a.
I know we don't. It's either pluralized or singular. That's our inquiry.
We, I guess, have different inquiries.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
okay. All right, Anna, we're fighting now.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome, I guess.
Bye.
Bye.
We need to talk to an Italian.
We got to call Ricardo.
We talk about kids. You talk a lot about your kids. She talks about hers. I sat next to one on a plane the other day.
One of her kids?
Yes, one of her kids.
I think she only has one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little baby boy. He was so cute.
On
but
your way to DC?
on my way home.
Okay.
He did cry the whole time, which
flight,
was
too.
long, and it was a bummer. And he did spill his water on me, but he was cute enough that it was fine. And I was so impressed because the family also had a 2-year-old. And they were dividing and conquering, and the 2-year-old was in coach with the dad, and the mom had the baby in her lap. And they were stressed out, and I felt so bad for them.
Were they drinking at least?
No.
Oh, they should have been.
No. They couldn't. They were like holding the baby.
You should have poured some in their lips. Put your mask on.
That would have been the nice thing to do. Yes, it would have. It's hard to be a baby on a plane. It's hard. You don't know what's going on.
The air pressure's changing. Your ears hurt. You don't know how to yawn and get rid of it yet. You can't make them pop.
Exactly.
It's really those ears.
I agree. Poor little buddy. But he was really cute.
Did she breastfeed him on the way down? That's the trick. You're supposed to breastfeed the baby on the descent.
Oh.
And then all that sucking makes their ears pop.
Oh, she might have, because what ended up happening mid-flight is the dad moved up. They switched spots.
Okay.
I think she was getting very stressed out.
She had enough. That's like a 5-hour flight, right? It's a long
5.5.
one.
Yeah, it was
Ooh.
long. But I think she was more stressed that the rest of the plane, like she was worried it was bothering everyone, which I felt bad for her. She's like, trying really hard to calm the baby down. When the dad came, he was also trying, but then I felt him fully give up.
We move into acceptance mode a little quicker than
He fully
moms.
did. He went into acceptance mode. He just held this baby. It was bawling.
Yeah.
And then eventually it fell asleep.
Oh.
And the dad was probably like, this is what I knew was going to happen. You just let him cry until he falls asleep. Because then he kind of bragged after.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was like,
Sounds like a dad.
all he needed was that nap.
Well, sometimes that'll happen. Like Vincent will calm down easier with me because he wants something out of Natalie. Oh. So
He thinks he can
he'll-
get something.
Yeah, get some milk.
Get some of that yummy milk.
Yeah.
But I think, well, there's a societal expectation that a mother's supposed to be able to soothe the baby. Mm-hmm. And I think the dad walks in and is like, everyone thinks the dad's a dipshit and can't do anything. So it's like the expectations are much lower on us.
That is
Like,
very true.
If the dad is holding the baby, like, wow, this guy's he's crushing it. He's holding the child.
yeah.
Everyone on the plane's no longer annoyed that the baby's
Yeah, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, look how cute.
Yeah, this guy isn't drunk at a bowling alley. What an accomplishment.
Yes.
There's that, but then there's also, I think the mother often and traditionally is more a part of regulating the kid's emotions. Mm-hmm. Whereas the dad doesn't necessarily even think he has that ability. So it's like, I can't affect whether this child, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little out on a limb. The societal thing, though, I stand by.
Yeah, that I think is
I'm just
right.
realizing the delivery men left one of their blankets behind.
Yeah, I asked Rob about that.
Do you think that was so they can come back?
To learn more about podcasting?
Maybe, and just like you would leave an object at a lover's
toothbrush.
house. Yeah.
It's their toothbrush.
Yeah. It's the,
That's a good move.
yeah,
It's a very good move.
Fernie pad.
Okay, the eye she was talking about for math, I think she was talking about that little I, which is in the quadratic equation. It's the solution to the quadratic equation. It's called the imaginary unit or unit imaginary number.
Ooh.
I think that's what she was referring to.
And it's in italices, right? It's slanted.
Yeah. Anywho, well, that was Priyanka.
I loved her.
She was great.
Very cool. I would have loved to have seen her in high school.
Yeah, she seemed like a character. Fun character.
Taking big swings.
Yeah.
All right. I love
All
you.
right, love you.
Sorry you don't like the new Lazy Boy, but
Oh, it'll be fine.
maybe if I can lower it a little bit and maybe as the color mutes a little bit, who knows?
It's a new era.
It's so wide.
Lots of space.
Incredibly wide.
Lots of space.
All right. Love you.
All right, love you.